Is that a clap, John? No. Like a big overhead clap.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, as CW poses like he's Din Fan in Las Vegas. Welcome to the Sunday Night Live, what we're going to call now the Super Chat Sunday Night Live, as we watch along WWE Survivor Series 1990. The link is in the description box below. I'm going to put it in the Premier chat. We'll talk a little nonsense for a few moments as we try and build up the big crowd. I still have to try and Facebook it, so to speak.
Are you excited about watching this show, Survivor Series?
I can't get enough of it.
Okay, I'm glad.
But I'm glad you folks are with us watching now. If you could, share it across social media. This laptop and this internet leaves a lot to be desired, folks. So this is the WWF Survivor Series 1990 WWE Network link. And we are, just believe it or not, folks, if you're in the Northeast, 6 nights away from the big one as Boston Wrestling MWF celebrates 20 years. Brian, how are you, my friend? Welcome. Lazy Bum, good to see you. We'll give it about 2 minutes. Again, the place to be, Saturday night, November the 13th. Boston Wrestling MWF celebrates its 20th anniversary, going back to the 90s at Memorial Hall, Melrose, Massachusetts. Peter, welcome. Hello from Australia. Well, greetings down under. I believe you're preparing for summer as we prepare for a lot of cold here in the Northeast.
You know, as an Australian, he might be interested in knowing who's going to appear on our 11/13 show. Not an Australian himself, but someone from that part of the world.
That's like saying someone from the United States would be excited about someone from Canada coming.
Well, it's close enough.
But I'm sure, being the wise soul that Peter is, he knows that Bushwhacker Luke will be one of the 8 featured 90s legends Saturday night down the street at Memorial Hall. Greg, welcome. Hey, Braz. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Some new names. I haven't seen these guys. What brings you to the live watch along? Tell me, please. We're excited to have you.
Is it our
We're going to have a lot
faces?
of fun. It looks like WWE edited this one down too, so it's not going to be the length of a normal Survivor Series. Wrestling.
Yeah, 2 hours and 21 minutes.
Yeah, that's a little short. I wonder what they cut. Maybe they cut the gobbledygook.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know that to be true.
Poor Hector Guerrero. Well, but no, this is we watched Starrcade 90.
Sell for me, brother.
We watched Starrcade 90 Thursday, and before that we watched Halloween Havoc.
Doing a lot of 90s action.
Yeah, 90. My God, 90. I was just a twinkle in my father's eye in 1990, and here I am now. No, this is we got Undertaker's debut. And you know what? The thing about Taker is that character aged so beautifully throughout the years. What he was in 90 and 91 and what he became in 95, 96, even up to 2000, 2001 and back to the original Dead Man. It really aged gracefully, and he evolved it pretty well. So I've got to say that about the Undertaker gimmick. He really aged it well, and he evolved it. Look at the promo pic on they've got here. They got the Road Warriors. They got that's Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior is still WWF champion at this point.
Yes, he is.
Hulk Hogan is back in action, and we've got a special night for my man Tito.
I don't know. Well, they need.
Dan loves his Tito Santana.
Like I'll have a lot to say about that as the program goes on. But
we got Big Boss Man in the pick. You know, I was thinking about what you told me about Big Boss Man supposedly going to get that big push in the year 2000 if they felt Triple H wasn't cutting it.
If he failed, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But why did people think Triple H wasn't going to cut it? Because he kind of had everything.
Well, because he hadn't done it yet.
Okay.
I guess is the best way to put it.
Young guy was chomping at the bit, but hadn't really been in that top spot. I could see that. You know.
They wanted success. You know, they needed it. I think they would have never given him the opportunity if they didn't think he would.
Right.
But they wanted to. Yeah. They wanted a backup plan in place.
I think
and the backup plan was shockingly Boss Man.
Well, kind of goes to show you it wasn't as deep at the time. I mean, they would try to do it different guys. Billy Gunn had a little bit of a push at that time.
Please.
Billy
that didn't get over at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's another guy.
Him or his ass.
What's that?
That's a man that was. I don't know why, but he was better suited for tag teams than he ever was singles.
Some people are like that, but that's not a bad thing. Tag team wrestling's a lost art nowadays.
Oh, it sure is.
You know? And hell, Billy Gunn, he's the most legitimate guy on the AEW roster at the beginning of the company. You ever see the first AEW shows he's on the ring with some of the other people? My God, he looks like a giant.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's a big man.
I think that's part of the reason why they don't do much with him. He dwarfs the mainstays of the company, I guess is the best way to put it. All right, folks, the Survivor Series link is available in the description box below and in the premiere box. We are going to get ready to fire this bad boy up. If my good friend, the stunt double for John C. Reilly, could switch over to the Charlie cam, show off those guns for Harvey.
Harvey's a good man.
All right, John, anytime now you can switch the camera. John, are you with us? Where did he go?
John C's having a bit of a gluten allergy in the control
John
room.
C, can you switch it to the Charlie cam? You know, the guy that isn't me.
There you go.
All right, beautiful. We got to kayfabe the pillow. Oh, shit. Kayfabe the pillow and break some microphones. Everyone.
So if you're on, you can click on the link. I believe there's a link in the live chat. You can watch it there, or you can go on your television, go to Peacock. It's season 4, 1 episode. Is it the? Yeah, because it started in '87, right?
Yeah. If you sign on to WWE Network through Peacock, just type in Survivor Series. For whatever reason, if you type in the year, it has a hard time trying to find it. So just type in Survivor Series once you're on WWE Network on Peacock. Scroll all the way down to season 4. It says 1 episode.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we are going to be clicking to watch momentarily, as I try not to break anything, which is, I always knock something over, it seems.
Anyone in the chat, this is anyone in the chat, write your favorite, maybe your couple favorite Survivor Series that you liked. Whether you were a kid,
right,
you're an
wrestling
adult,
fans, we're clicking
some of the Survivor Series shows that you liked watching or you remember. Could be a few years ago, could be 30 years ago. What did you like?
Right,
What's the Survivor Series you liked?
And we're getting ready to go, baby. A little yellow, sir. All right. Coarse language and violence. A coked out Vince McMahon does a tremendous introduction here.
I love it.
I do too.
I wish he brought that back.
All right, now you can do whatever camera shot you like, see. What a main event. Some very firsts on this show. The only time they did the Ultimate Survivor tag team match for the main event. First time they ever had someone come out of an egg. And a very interesting debut, if you can see the shadow next to Ted DiBiase that replaced Bad News Brown, who had left the company. Boris Zukov replaced Akeem on this team. This was at a time when WWE gave, almost like nowadays, they gave notice to about 15 talents.
Yeah, I think Jim Neidhart was supposed to be one of them, but he kind of got past the cut. Rick Rude,
as we mentioned on one of the episodes with Marty, the reason Neidhart got the pass was because he owed Vince McMahon quite a bit of money from his legal bills from when he beat up the stewardess.
Look at the BDSM masks at the Demolition.
Oh, thank God they didn't have him on here. And what was my good, close, longtime personal friend, Bill Eadie's final night. It's unbelievable that he's been gone from the company that long and still hasn't been inducted.
This is his final night here?
This is his final night. He knew what was coming, and he was 100% right. As much as I love Smash Barry Darso, he was 100% wrong.
What did Smash think? They're going to get pushed again?
I guess either he didn't want to go or he didn't think it was going to be as bad as Axe did, and Axe proved right. His demolition was done within about 6 months.
Look at
well,
Roddy.
the summer of 90.
Roddy looks so... He looks like someone's aunt.
Looks like he's going for a Fabio type look.
Yeah, I liked it when Piper growed his hair a little bit.
Nah, I like the classic.
You like the short 85 look?
Yeah.
What do you think about Gorilla's suit jacket?
Gorilla had a little bit of style. A little pimp in him.
Oh.
Oh, and there was that egg they teased and teased and teased.
And Rude had just left the company at this point.
I don't know if he was officially gone at this point because he was injured, and then he was angry about his SummerSlam 90 payoff. But he was originally supposed to be in the main event. I think it was Haku a Barbarian replaced him in the main event.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of substitutions on this show, much like Survivor Series 88 for fans that remember that one. There were a bunch of them because of all the firings that took place on the overseas tour they had the month before.
Oh, the Fink. Gosh, the Finkel. He was so
the
energetic.
one and only, baby. Good, interesting interactions with the Fink over the years.
Good ones?
Yes. I was very impressed. The first time he kind of interacted with me, he knew who I was.
Really?
Yes, and I was blown away by that. That Howard Finkel knew who Dan Marotti was.
How do you know you were? Just the TV that maybe?
He must have come across videos or something online. I don't know. I don't ever really remember interacting much with him when I had my 2001 stint. Because I think at that point, Lillian was the ring announcer. Tell you though, in their peak, what a hell of a team right there.
Yeah, I'm watching Edie walk out. He seems so over it. Actually, if you look at his body,
there were a lot of they made promises to him. I don't think he liked the fact that, instead of just giving him a little time to recover from his illness, they jumped right to Crush within literally a couple of days. There was someone else they tested out, too, for the demolition role, whose name escapes me, on house shows. On the non-televised event, Crush first went by B.A. It was B.A. and Smash against the Hart Foundation on the house show loops.
Well, hey, Crush was able to transition into the Hawaiian bra that we all know and love.
Well, it's just a shame. And, they wanted Bill to kind of become a player coach and have him become an agent. Then, as we noted, they released so many people or they gave notice to so many people. They took that away from him, and he saw the writing on the wall. They put him back together. They put them back together with Fuji just a couple of years after they turned on him at Survivor Series 88. So I can understand his point of view. Business was down. The money wasn't what it was. 90 was a bad year for that company.
They didn't lose money in that year, did they?
In 90?
Did they lose it?
No, I think the only year they ever lost money was 94.
95, they didn't even lose money? I was sure 95 was the rough year there. Even though I think they were...
Well, maybe their fiscal year went from July 1st to June 30th from 94 into 95, maybe. But, you have to... When you can control the payoff system, it's hard to lose money. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, that's up to Vince and really the whoever he had on the board with him at that time. But he hasn't had a losing year ever since.
Nope.
And didn't they make record year? Didn't they have a record year this year?
I think they're going to have record year after year for quite a while.
Even with all the budget cuts?
Yeah. Oh, I missed some messages. What do we got here now? Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich.
This is about. Well, no, actually, this is was he the Intercontinental champion?
Kerry Von Erich in his 1 foot.
Was he still Intercontinental champion? I think
yes,
he was.
Well, the funny thing is he actually lost it at the TV taping a couple of days before this. But you know how WWF worked, and until it happens on TV, it doesn't happen.
So he still has the belt, though.
If you went to the television tapings, this was on Thanksgiving night, so I think on either the Monday or the Tuesday, Mr. Perfect already won it back. Just a waste of a run, a waste of time. I found him to have absolutely nothing. But one man's opinion. Well, Marty seemed to like him, but I think Marty liked him personally, so he was tainted.
I don't think, you know what, I got to give this to Kerry. For the way he moved with one foot is pretty remarkable. Kerry Von Erich, some people actually believe this. If he was of, and I actually could see this, if he was of sound mind, this is the big qualifier, sound mind, he probably would have been one of the biggest stars in the business throughout the 80s. Almost as big as Hogan. Because he had that, look at him, he had that charisma. If he was of sound mind, he was clear-headed, he would have been right there.
I just don't think he was that good.
In the ring?
No.
I thought he was pretty good in the ring.
I didn't think his promos were all that inspiring. I think he had a tremendous look, but he almost came across as I'm sure some would be offended by this down south, but almost like a small market Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
And as much as Ultimate Warrior wasn't all that good, he at least had the look, he had the charisma, he had the energy until he got blown up in the ring.
Well, I think Warrior was actually a better worker than people give him credit for. I don't think he was great, but he gave us. Listen, he worked. If he went in there and started doing headlocks and hammerlocks, he needed to have
someone go in there and bounce off him like a ping pong, or he was done.
But if he went in there and started wrestling like he was William Regal, it wouldn't have worked.
But I mean, even basic things he couldn't do.
No. I mean, do you have like in this time period here, 90? Who do you think was the best pure in-ring worker they had?
Right now?
Yeah, in this company, best pure in-ring worker. Perfect.
Right there.
Yeah, all right, that's probably a good pick. I was thinking Brett.
Shawn Michaels wasn't there yet.
I think Marty was up there.
I'm not taking nothing away from the Rockers, but I just don't think they were as good as Mr. Perfect.
I mean, Marty himself has told me without hesitation, Perfect's the best in-ring worker he ever saw.
Well, so
without hesitation.
Really, as a guy that lived it, what more do you need to hear?
Well,
but I loved Mr. Perfect.
Oops, some bad-looking punches from Animal.
And Boston Garden in September of 90, we had Warrior and the Legion of Doom against Team Demolition in the worst house show I ever saw. The worst lineup they ever presented.
What was wrong with it? Well, that doesn't sound like a bad match itself there.
It was interesting.
Do you see any Conquistador matches? That would be bad if I think.
Well, funny enough that you mentioned it. It was supposed to be Jim Duggan against Rick Rude. It turned into Jim Duggan against Conquistador number 1. The Rockers against Power and Glory was an advertised match, but John still wasn't recovered from his injury, so it turned into Marty against Paul Roma. Sergeant Slaughter took on Nikolai Volkov.
Oh, God. And Sergeant Slaughter was done by 90. He was terrible.
Was in an undercard match, but he was pulled because I believe Bad News already quit, and he had to replace Bad News against Jake Roberts on the B or the C team. And he had to replace Bad News against Jake Roberts if that came out wrong. So just a lot of ugh. But and the next month was maybe worse. If they had 3,000 people in the building for the October of 90 house show, that would be saying something.
At the Garden?
There was no one there. It was a matinee. It was the Hearts against Rhythm and Blues, Dusty against Ted DiBiase, and Tugboat against Earthquake. Also, the Boston return of the British Bulldog as a single after only 2 years. But I mean, the look of the man, he was so big and gassed up.
Oh, gosh. I think he looked
against Haku.
Bulldog looked great in that run. He always looked good, but yeah, he looked. That was actually.
And that's part of the reason why he's no longer with us.
Well, was he? Do you think he looked bigger? Yeah, he probably did. He probably looked bigger in that 90 to 92 run than he did any other time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, he was enormous in 91. Everybody was.
Oh gosh,
Jeez, Axis. Poor Bill.
Bill is out of it. He does not care.
Not even going to the center of the ring. Fuck it, I'm done.
You know what? I've always, every time, speaking of that, you know what?
He didn't even really do his hair.
Well, he was just over it. But, it's funny. I always think of that, there's that infamous,
nice bump.
There's that infamous match, not infamous, but Honky Tonk and Warrior from '88 SummerSlam. And I always love that part when Honky takes his last bump, Warrior runs off the ropes, and Honky switches his legs over to straighten himself out. Have you ever watched that part?
Which one now?
'88 SummerSlam. Honky and Warrior. And Honky bumps for Warrior. And at the end, Warrior goes for his big splash, and Honky sideways, and he switches his body over. It looks so fake. He switches his body so Warrior can jump straight up.
I don't remember that.
If you watch it, it's not a long match, obviously, but if you watch it, you'll see it. Honky literally is lying there, and he switches his whole body. Right.
All right, let's see what the fans have to say. Dan, my first Boston wrestling event. Boston, you coming to the show on Saturday night? Well, make sure you say hello to everybody, please. There will be refreshments served. Mr. Perfect should have been the world champ at least once. Kevin, as much as I'll say he was an outstanding elite in any generation, he was never really a great draw. They gave him that opportunity to work with Hogan. He never really drew as a great opponent for Hogan. He worked with Warrior when Warrior was the champion. He was never really a great draw against Warrior. So they did give him an opportunity to work with the world champions, but he was never, that's the only knock I could say against the man, was that he wasn't a great draw.
I think he would have I think if he had stayed around through 93, 4, and 5, and he was healthy, he would have gotten the title.
They gave him a pretty decent sized push when he came back in late 92 into 93, but his back was so decimated at that point, it wasn't the same Mr.
You could
Perfect.
say the same thing, I think, probably about Rude. Yeah, you could probably say similar things about Rude. Rude got it in WCW, kind of.
Like you, whoop.
Oh,
Jesus. Like I said before, I was never really a big Rude guy. He never really, I'll say this though. Well, no, to be fair, he did have that run against Warrior. Problem with that, when they had the World Championship run, was it wasn't even a year after they had their feud over the Intercontinental title. Right. So maybe kind of an unfair way to give Rude that shot, but I don't know if Hogan didn't want to work with him or...
They worked a house show match, I think maybe
in Boston in January of '88.
That was pretty... I thought
that may have been it.
That was a pretty decent match, I thought.
You've seen it.
I've seen it. It's on YouTube, actually.
Phil, hello, Phil. I think we were talking about you before we went on the air. You are correct. Rest in peace to King Kong Angelo Mosca. We're probably going to have a much more in-depth tribute to him.
He just passed?
Yesterday.
Oh, gosh.
With John Cena Sr. Tony Atlas shared the story of Angelo urinating on elevators in Boston, so the boys couldn't stay at the usual hotel they used to. But I'm glad you're here, Phil. You are one of our great moderators. You have the power of the blue wrench. Why it's a blue wrench, I have no idea. Yeah, you're right, Kevin. When Rick Rude hurt his back against Sting, it did look very painful. Almost like a stronger version of what happened when Shawn Michaels took that bump off the casket at Royal Rumble '88. But Boston, you're going to have a great time on Saturday night. If you knew how much work we were putting into this, we're going to do, for all of you guys, a mini documentary. I want to tape a little of it before the event and a little bit after the event, after we see how it comes out, just so you guys, if you're interested, get a look at what it takes to put together an event of this magnitude. I feel like my brain is back in the 90s along with the event, but that's a different story for a different time. Well, Rise, I'm glad your hair was a certain way. I'm just trying. Oh, Chris, how are you, buddy? Nothing ever really came of the lawsuit, but he still owed Vince a lot of money for the attorneys and so on and so forth. On the barber, how are you, buddy? I'm going backwards, guys. I'm sorry. With a child? Oh, come on. Rise. Are you kidding me?
What's going on?
Brother, I got to delete that message.
What's going on?
Just, and I don't know what he was thinking type message. Well, the good news is outside of Survivor Series this month, when I'm going to be in Brooklyn, I don't know if you're coming along, Charlie, but we're going to have a Survivor Series watch along every Sunday. Hey, AZ, how are you, buddy? Oh, geez, I missed a lot of people. Pika, how are you?
Which means a week from today would be Survivor Series 91. You want to do Survivor Series 91?
Oh, shit. I forgot Duke Droese going to be here next week.
Should we have him do Survivor Series of 9? Was he on the Survivor Series ever? 95, maybe? I can look that up real quick.
I don't think so.
I don't think he ever did a Survivor Series.
He did Rumbles.
He did Rumbles, but he was.
I think that might have been it for the dumpster. Threw him in the trash like he was nothing. I tell you this, Mr. Perfect was about the only one that could make Kerry Von Erich look good.
Oh, I would say that.
And they tried.
Ric Flair made him look great. A lot of guys made him look good.
I'm sorry. I mean in his WWF run.
Well, actually, what's funny is I've actually done that bump.
Really? You've
in a
done
wrestling
it?
run. In a wrestling ring.
Relax over there, CW Anderson.
I actually did it for a man you might know of, too.
Blayze, Christ Savior is on. Oh, what a great bump by Bobby Heenan! I didn't remember that. I remember watching this at my friend Shane McMahon as the referee. I remember watching this at my friend's house about a half block down the street. Thanksgiving night, we had a lot of fun. Because I had SummerSlam at my house, so we did Survivor Series at his house. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, Christ Savior. He will be back sooner than later, I think. He's got some life stuff happening, someone call my name? I still can't hear out of my right ear since I got off the airplane.
Thankfully, that's the ear that's closest to me, so I can say all kinds of mean things about you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the referee in the ring is Freddie Spada, a man himself that was known to enjoy the membership privileges of the Cream Team at times. Well, the exposed turnbuckle, that could be it for Kerry Von Erich. Bobby recovered pretty quick. But a hell of a bump. Here we go. Stick a fork in Kerry Von Erich, just like at the TV taping a couple of days earlier.
That was it. Wow. I bet you he was really, his back at this point must have been
Perfect?
No, yeah, Perfect's back must have been hurting by this point.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know when it went out. But I know when it went out, he was done. And he put over Bret Hart like a champ in his final match for well over a year
great
at
match.
SummerSlam 91.
Fantastic match.
I really didn't remember Warrior's outfit here, but I got to say, I think it's nice and colorful.
I always liked
like
Warrior's
the silver.
outfit. I liked his gimmick.
As much as I wasn't a great big Warrior fan, you know what? He kept it colorful, much like Macho Man Randy Savage. He kept it colorful. He kept it creative. He kept it unique.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to give credit where credit is due.
I think it's more unique than Perfect's singlets, which were kind of on the basic side for him, I felt.
I remember the first time I saw them, and I thought it was like a swimmer's outfit.
Well, he used to wear trunks, and then
I think he debuted the outfit against Blue Blazer at WrestleMania 5.
I think my guess why he switched over is he was in phenomenal shape, but he wasn't like super
gassed
ripped.
up. He probably was.
Yeah.
But
well,
compared to others,
but but like he had a little bit of flab over maybe the midsection he wanted to cover.
And they weren't. I can't think of anyone else that really had an outfit like that. Wait a minute, John C's getting all fired up in there.
Someone's disrespecting the great John C.
No,
I think.
No one disrespects John C. John C. will be there this Saturday night, fans. Memorial Hall, Melrose, Massachusetts, along with 8 great 90s legends, plus other special guests. 2-time Impact Wrestling World Champion Die Hard Eddie Edwards, JTG of Cryme Time, John Cena Sr., Oscar of Men on a Mission, who fits the 90s theme, as a tag team championship manager. AEW's Jora Joel, Major League Wrestling's Myron Reed. Watch out for Myron Reed in the future, fans. He was ranked number 103 in the world in Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top 500. And then you got those 80s legends. WWE World Champion Bob Backlund on 2 occasions. The man that's going to be posing with this belt, Marty Jannetty, former Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion. Hall of Famer Bushwhacker Luke. 3-time Women's Champion and Hall of Famer Alundra Blayze. The Doctor of Style Slick. Doink the Clown. Duke the Dumpster Droese. Portuguese Man of War Aldo Montoya. And so much more, fans. It is going to be a happening. If you're not there Saturday night, you're in the Massachusetts area or the Northeast, you're going to break my heart because you're going to love it. When you see some of the great young athletes we have lined up, dear Lord, it is going to be a happening. And stick a fork in Mr. Perfect, much like Demolition Axe. The Ultimate Warrior is the sole survivor of this match. As poor Bobby sells like a machine for the Warrior. He didn't like the Warrior, but he sold for him.
I don't think the Warrior liked him either, but...
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I dislike Warrior. The fact that he was happy that Bobby got cancer, you know, I don't think that says much about the Warrior.
Well, also, didn't he say querying doesn't make the world work?
Yes.
But didn't
so
he have
Javi may have been a little offended by that.
Well, he might have had some liaisons of his own, Ultimate Warrior, from the rumors.
Huh?
Didn't Ultimate Warrior have some male liaisons of his own, according to the rumors?
Well, according to many, yes. It was headline news in 91 that his ass was available for sale prior to WWF.
It's a great ass. Actually, folks, I want to say this is probably one of my favorite championship belts here.
So don't touch it.
Oh, okay.
Hands off.
He's telling me to keep
Get your hands off it.
my
now.
grubby hands
Now.
off it.
Do it.
Me. All Mariah does. You sound like your friend Cam Zagami over there. It is a beautiful belt, though. It actually is one of my favorite belts. The white IC title. I know Dan likes the black strap more. I like the white. I think it looks nice. And Jimmy Hart doesn't get his credit. As a manager, he doesn't get his credit, I don't think.
Who?
Jimmy Hart. I don't think
he doesn't get his credit. But are you crazy?
I don't think he gets enough credit as a manager. All the people he managed in Memphis and then in WWF and even WCW, he doesn't get his credit. And the music,
I think he's considered one of the managerial greats. No.
Well, where would you rank him above? I wouldn't put him. To me, Heenan's number 1. What's your manager ranking? If you had a top 5, top 3?
I really, it's tough to say. I really didn't see the golden era of the Grand Wizard, Freddie Blassie and Captain Lou. I saw the more comical Captain Lou when I started watching. But as far as the WrestleMania era going forward, I'd say easy top 5, top 4. I think Bobby was better. I think Paul Bearer was more effective, and you can say I'm a little biased, but I just think he did a great job in getting Undertaker over. Especially where Undertaker didn't speak for the first few years of his career. Very
but
seldom.
Bearer was only really with. I mean, he went to other people too, but for the most part, he was just with one guy.
Yeah. Gary Hart, I think, was outstanding, and he'll never get his due because he was never in WWF. And then I'd put probably Jimmy. Sherry Martel, I would put right up there. She was so effective in her role.
You know what I think has to go, and maybe I don't know if he's top 5 because I don't think he got to be enough places, but I think he has the opportunity or had the talent if he just had the opportunity. I think James Mitchell.
Oh yeah, but I mean.
But to
never
be fair,
did it on a large enough stage.
To a Paul Bearer or James Mitchell, you had to put them with the right. You couldn't put James Mitchell with like the Hart Foundation. Right. It wouldn't work. You had to put him with the people like Paul Bearer and him had to be with monsters, freaks, or evil-like characters. You couldn't put them with the high school jock. It wouldn't work. You know.
Yeah, when they eventually put Paul Bearer with Mankind, Kane, Vader, it was always oddities and so on. Oh my God, yeah, you're right. How could I forget about Jim Cornette? My God.
Oh, Cornette, yeah.
I'd put Cornette above Jimmy Hart.
I don't even know if Cornette would.
I would.
Well, because it's coming from Cornette, because Cornette, I know Jimmy Hart was a big, it was a kind of a helpful hand to Cornette in the early days.
Yeah, I think Cornette was a much better promo. I think Cornette was much better at generating heat. Jimmy Hart was great in his role, but he was never the A guy.
Well, Cornette was the A guy. Well, by the time he got to WWF, they were kind of getting rid of managers a little bit. They were getting away from that.
Who?
WWF.
At what time?
But by the time Cornette got there, they were starting to get away from managers.
They had
slightly.
about 10 managers when he came in.
They had him. They had Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
They had Sherry was gone.
Yeah. Luna. Oscar.
Okay, but they weren't as emphasized as what they were in the 80s.
Michaels was kind of a manager at that point.
Yeah, wrestling manager.
Trying to think who else. Alpha, Lou Albano.
But did they have the emphasis they had on the 80s?
No, they didn't have the quality.
They were starting to de-emphasize. Now the last manager I thought was effective, maybe Leo Rush. MVP has done a good job in his role. Heyman is probably the one guy. Leo Rush I thought was good with Bobby Lashley.
Oh, he was outstanding.
Yeah. They just didn't want to keep him as a manager. I thought he was a way better manager than a wrestler. As a wrestler, he's done nothing for me. Yeah, I never saw him as a wrestler.
Well, you see, in a very historical moment here, fans, the debut of the one and only Undertaker, Thanksgiving night 1990. And I remember me and my friend sitting there saying, "That's Mean Mark from WCW."
It's been
said. DrewTube says Jimmy Hart is number 2 behind Heenan.
Oh, okay.
Now, DrewTube, what year did you start watching? Blayze Bum, I respect that. Phil, you got to see the golden era of those managers I was talking about. Out of curiosity, Phil, where I kind of know the eras that you watched and enjoyed, where would you put Jimmy Hart? Here he is, the Undertaker, the dead man.
Mean Mark.
He did some work at some TV tapings, but
I think he should have kept that scruff maybe a little bit for the character.
Well, he was over and worked fantastic from night one.
I'm going to say this. I think he was told in WCW no one would pay to see him wrestle, and it's true. No one gave a damn about Mean Mark. But the Undertaker...
Well, I like the Skyscrapers as a tag team when he was involved with them.
But Mean Mark wasn't a gimmick that was going to get over. But Undertaker...
It was bland.
Yeah, Undertaker, but he gave
it... Is that Brian? Hold on one second. Brian D., is that Brian Duffy? Wow, Phil says top 10 for sure for Jimmy Hart. He's pretty...
Well, yeah, I agree. I think Jimmy Hart's definitely top 10.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys, do you think Annie enjoyed Greg Valentine more with black or blonde hair?
Was the ass the same?
I don't think he dyed his ass, no.
You think he had a lot of hair on his ass?
It had to be, apparently, according to Marty, it had to be shaved. Boy, she'd...
Well, good for Annie for having some standards. I would prefer...
She did have standards.
Wouldn't you prefer an ass that's smoother than hairier?
Yeah, I never really gave it a lot of thought. I tell you, Coco was on fire in that spot.
Oh, I love Coco.
When he got to the back, I guess.
One of my boys, Coco.
Very underrated. I like Coco an awful lot.
I think he'd be...
Oh, the hard camera Undertaker. Someone's nervous.
And near the ropes.
Almost dropped him on his head with the one-arm tombs. Yeah. Wow. You know what you can say right here? Almost green.
You could tell he's a little nervous for the spot. He's like, oh, shit.
And then a year later, he'd be world champion.
Yeah. He wins it. Well,
Boston, I agree with you. The managers nowadays do suck for the most part. Although I think Leo is... What's that? Oh, the captain. Not Captain Lou Data. Where is he? Is he hiding? Oh, is that a hand I see? Well, he's here to give a hand, I guess. No, those are for you. Fans Live Saturday night. November the 13th at Memorial Hall in Melrose, you'll get to meet Captain Chris. He's one of the ambassadors, one of the officials. I had taped. What the fuck did I do? Did I swear? Whoops.
You did. You potty mouth.
Well, there's 4. I know I brought a roll of tape in for you, Captain. If you look in, there's a bag under my desk. If you go through that bag, there should be the 4th unused roll. All right. So we'll talk during the week. We're live right now, you know. We're LIVE live. Have you ever met John C? Did you know he was the stunt double for John C. Reilly in several films? Do you know who John C. Reilly is? You don't know the actor John C. Reilly? You're going to lose your status as the captain at this point. Well, we look forward to seeing you Saturday night. It's going to be a big night. I'm still waiting for that interview you were talking about. You're pulling some strings? Well, pull harder. Well, travel safe. It was nice to see you for 45 seconds. I look forward to seeing you Saturday night, along with all these great fans here in the watch along. Captain Chris has been one of our assassins. What year did you start poking around? I don't know. Probably think he already left. Hell, he doesn't care about the Survivor Series.
Who is that?
That's Captain Chris.
You didn't want to introduce me to Captain Chris?
You think he's number 3?
No, I just want to say hi. That's all.
Man, number 3.
Number 3. What is up with you and 3?
It's your favorite number.
No, it's not. It's 33.
Oh, Larry Bird, baby. Good
Larry
night
Bird.
out with a scoop and a slam on Honky Tonk Man. They were involved in their what a lousy way to eliminate.
Was Honky Tonk out after this? I didn't think it was a lousy way. I thought it was a good finish.
A power slam?
Bulldog used it as a finish.
Okay, that was the Bulldog.
Neidhart was a strong guy. I could see that. What? It's not like I'm sorry. What did you
look at DiBiase sell for Neidhart though? That's some good. What were you saying?
What did you want him to do? Bump for the Invisible Man?
They at least could have done the finish.
Oh, speaking of overrated people, hey, it's Dusty Rhodes. Who I always thought was a bit overrated was never.
I agree with that 110%. I was never a big Dusty fan.
I get it. He was a big star, drew a lot of money. Not just as an in-ring performer, never did it for me. Maybe I watched the wrong matches. I don't know.
Well, nice drop kick. He knew he was on the way out for a very lucrative deal with WCW at this point, so he was actually, he was jobbing to on the house shows. Virgil.
Virgil? I want to say Virgil. I thought that sounded stupid.
Because DiBiase was, he wound up injured. So on a lot of the house shows, he was either working Slaughter or Virgil on the way out.
Was he jobbing to Slaughter?
Oh, of course. Slaughter was getting the big push.
They shouldn't have given Slaughter that push, but he was awful by that point. He couldn't go in the ring that much.
Well, it wasn't the 82 Slaughter, that's for sure. John C.
Look, this is even a crap
Boston
finish.
Said John C. is the stunt double for Eugene.
Let's see.
That's a good one. I like that. John C., do you know who Eugene is? Well, I don't know if you should Google him or not. Google Eugene WWE and tell me what you think. This was a tough night for Bret Hart. One of his brothers died the night before this event.
Was that Dean?
I think so.
Yeah. Heard about that in his book. Excellent book, by the way.
Oh, excellent book.
Yeah. Say what you want about Bret, but he's very articulate, right? I think I don't know if he had a ghostwriter for that. He wrote that himself. I know he had some editing probably done. But...
Brian, we're glad you live in. Oh no, he's telling someone else he lives in Medford. Okay. Ice Loco Repo Man debuted about a little bit before a year after this, in late '91. Lazy Bum Quincy is generally only with us on Thursdays. But if you're with us live Saturday night, November the 13th, Quincy will be at Memorial Hall live. The venue where a police officer quit on the event because of Quincy, ripped up his check, and left the building.
Wait, so a police officer quit the event because of Quincy?
Quincy singing the national anthem.
Wow. How disgusting was it?
He was appalled.
Was it just like a sound of cats being killed?
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, but you know what? He gave it what he had. But you know what? For one, I think that may have been one of the few times Piggott and I were on the same side of things.
You guys were common.
Piggott was furious.
At Quincy?
No, at the police officer. Because by law, we have to have that cop there.
But who would fucking have
The
Quincy do that?
The cop ripped up the check, sprinkled it on the table where we sell the tickets. They said the little pieces were just floating. And he said, fuck this, and he left.
Oh, is that?
He was a veteran, I guess.
And there's the for Dusty.
Nope.
Couldn't take the tombstone. Couldn't even put him over, you fat fuck. And just gets right up. Just gets right up.
Useless. His whole run, he was useless.
When was his last good year? 85?
Before I started watching.
Uh-oh. Good. Kick him harder in the head, Bruce. Speaking of useless, Bruce Pritchard.
Useless? Don't say that about Bruce.
What has he ever done? What has he ever done?
Well,
besides...
one of the most popular podcasts in all the podcasts.
No, I get that. I get his
Do
podcast.
it for Annie, baby.
I get that. But what has
and I hated this too because Undertaker wasn't even the legal man in the ring.
Well, he was not coming back to the match. Maybe they're going back to see Annie. Did the Undertaker get any of Annie?
I have heard yes, but Paul Bearer told me no.
Did Paul Bearer get any of Annie?
I had heard yes, but Paul Bearer said no.
Who didn't get with Annie?
Those that maybe didn't enjoy her particular area of interest.
Was Annie a looker back in the day? Was she a beautiful woman?
No.
Never was?
She looked like Adrian Adonis when he tagged with Dick Murdoch.
Oh, gosh. Leather jacket, Adrian Adonis?
Her sister that sounded just like her looked like Big Bird. The one that claimed she had the child with Marty via C-section. Baby. Will Annie be going back to the 90s with us Saturday night?
I hope so. I hope she's at the VIP table.
I think the Q&A with Annie would be tremendous.
She'd put the A in Q&A, wouldn't she?
Question and answers. Wow, it's too bad these two never had a chance to really have a big run together. I think they would have had some tremendous matches.
I think Brett and DiBiase, I know in 93 for a title, that wouldn't have been bad. Now, but DiBiase had been put through the ringer. He had worked with Hogan. He had worked with Warrior. He had worked with Savage. He worked with every babyface champion they had. So I don't know what his drawing ability would have been at that point, but.
Well, the business was dead. I mean, I don't think be fair, I don't think it would have hurt.
Yeah.
Would it have helped?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Did even Yoko draw as champion in 9?
No.
Nothing.
It was dead from after everybody left in 92 through
96-ish.
Late 96, the house show business started to turn around because they only had one team.
Well, I can tell you this.
So it was all the shows were loaded, In
97, it started really coming around. They had that big show at the Rumble, which was heavily papered. But you know what show isn't papered, ladies and gentlemen? 11-13.
No, certainly not.
Not one comp. Not one comp. At least to my knowledge. Maybe a couple.
You got to take care of your friends. We may have two. Brett mentioned the Hojos in his book. That's where Gina worked, the sister.
How was that Rumble 97 match? I heard it was pretty papered, I guess. It was a lot of, they didn't. No,
you know what it was? I think they did a promotion. If you brought a can of Coke, you could get a ticket for like $5.
Oh, God.
I think that's how they did it. Because it wasn't even $1 million gate, even with all those people.
That's like a $70,000 house, isn't it? Like not $70,000, 70,000 seats.
I mean, there were a lot of. What's that?
Isn't it like 70,000 seats that can hold the Alamo Dome?
I don't know how they set it up.
It was a big show.
I've seen how they've set up the past 2 Rumbles they did in Houston and where the hell was the other one we went to? Oh, Phoenix. Where they, portion off part of the facility. Why open up all the seats if you're not going to sell them?
Well,
Brian, you are correct. He was called Kane the Undertaker. Boston having a little fun with Marty's imitation of Dusty. Yes, Phil, he will be taking the Quincy cycle. Boston, do you have a general admission or a VIP ticket? It's 2 different times. Dan, what happened to Honky Tonk Man? He's not. I tried to get Honky Tonk Man for our events here in Melrose, and he just, there's certain things he's looking for, I guess, when he does an appearance. He wants to be, for him to travel, he wants it to be well worth his while, time-wise, and, for several appearances. And we only have one event. We only have one studio.
Maybe for April, potentially.
Like I said, all I can do is extend the invite.
Do you have another? I shouldn't even ask this.
What?
We have, the April show. Trust me, after this Saturday, the April show will be all he talks about.
No, actually, Tampa will be the
well. But the April show.
Look at that! I always remember him saying "fuck" at the end of that match.
Is there going to be? There's definitely going to be a November show of next year, 21st anniversary.
I have no idea.
No, nothing after April.
I have no idea. We have so many shows that we've lost from coronavirus that we need to make up for.
How many shows?
Some of them, Maine, New York.
3, like how many shows? 5, 6 shows?
Well, we lost a total of 4 due to the virus. I don't know if the Alamo Dome, I don't know if it could hold 70,000, Phil. Maybe. Depends on the set. Chris, what do you think about the interaction dresses that get released? I'll say this. I really don't think there's, other than Karrion Kross, there was anyone of any consequence that got released.
Keith Lee? Could have been.
Didn't do it for me.
I know you weren't a big Nia fan.
No. She looked like those they had 8-pack of hot dogs that's kind of shrink wrapped at the supermarket.
She had a pretty face.
If you were blind, yeah. She was beautiful. All right.
These four.
Oh, the stories that could. Oh, just the stories I could tell you about Jimmy and Marty and Jake.
Hey, Jake's still selling his bad eye.
Boston, the day of the. Just so you know, if you're interested in an Ultra or a Platinum VIP ticket, those are done Thursday at noon. We'll probably have the VIP Gold, where it's simple, and the general admission on at the door that night. So if you're interested in the VIP, tell me that. Or if you're interested in a general admission, tell me that, and then I'll give you the times. Because I appreciate you coming out, brother. All right. Am I a fan of Harry Smith Jr.? I think he's closer to the end than the beginning. I think his peak was kind of lost. I know he was big in Japan and so on. But for a guy that was going to main event Survivor Series 2007 against Shawn Michaels and really never did anything on a national level here in the United States, other than that tag team he did with, what's his name? TJ Wilson. What did he go by in WWE? Tyson Kidd.
Right.
Yeah, it's wasted potential, maybe. It looked like he was going to get a chance to do something with WWE, and then they released him. But is anyone crying or not going to watch the show now because Harry Smith Jr. is gone? No.
I think there's a lot of potential. I mean, that whole family, Teddy Hart had a lot of potential that kind of got squandered.
Well, there's a man we're going to see this Saturday night, the Doctor of Style, Slick. What was that again?
I said but look at that whole family. A lot of people came out of that area and that you're associated with that family. I mean, Teddy Hart had a lot of potential that got squandered, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's not the.
A good friend of Boston Wrestling MWF, a man. I don't know if I let the cat out of the bag yet. Like I said, I really don't want to get too much into that. But Saturday night, April the 16th, I don't know if he's going to have that staff or not, but we will see the Doctor of Style this Saturday night. I know John C. Reilly got pumped up when he saw the Warlord come out. Again, you want to talk about April the 16th?
How come Jake looks like AG aged about 15 years?
He looked like what?
AG aged 15 years. Anthony Green.
Jake's only about a foot taller and 70 pounds heavier, but
right. And has talent.
AG has a lot of talent.
Oh, he's got no talent. He could juggle maybe.
Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers, as colorful as ever.
That was one of their promos.
My Thursday night partner in crime, he'll be with us this Saturday night at Memorial Hall.
Snuka with boots. This is the booted Snuka.
The booted Snuka before he got booted. Superfly Jimmy Snuka, a man we had a tribute for at Memorial Hall back in 2013. Man I knew from Boston Bad Boy Tony Rumble's Century Wrestling Alliance going all the way back to 94.
So,
and it's nice to say that out of the many, many, many interactions we had with Jimmy, he was on the first MWF Live event in 2001. The most clear-headed I ever saw Jimmy was the last time I saw him, which I thought was really good.
Now, was he done by mid-91, or was it right after Mania 7 they let him go? Or did he quit?
No, Jimmy was there into 92.
Oh, he was?
He was part of the...
You're right.
We got to get rid of people because of the steroids.
But he
another drug.
But because I remember he worked with Shawn Michaels very early on in Shawn's single run.
Yeah, and that was 92.
Yeah, beginning of 92. But I'm trying to think of when he actually finished up. Was that like mid to late 92 he was done? They had him on C shows, didn't they? At that point?
They didn't even have C shows then. That was part of the problem. Jimmy, probably, I think the early part of 92.
Okay.
Just as the people started to vanish.
Right around the time Hercules left and all those guys.
He would have been another one in early 92. Warlord was another one in early 92. Before the big departures started. Warlord, just such a great guy, though. Still an intimidating presence.
Hasn't aged badly
at all.
Still
a bouncer down in Florida.
He looks still pretty good. I mean, he's 60 years old just about.
Yeah.
He looks fantastic. Where does he live in Florida? What part? Is it the Tampa?
I think down... and I bought his plane ticket, too. My first thought is Fort Lauderdale, but I'm not 100% sure.
I want to say Tampa because all the wrestlers seem to be from Tampa.
It's definitely not Tampa.
No,
because we invited him to Wrestle House and it was too far.
Now, Marty, he's in Florida. He's going to be moving further south?
Marty wants to move down to Tampa, but he says the rent is too high. So I don't know what is going to happen with that. We had discussed having him at Wrestle House, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Could you imagine going to Wrestle House and then Marty was the next door neighbor? My God.
My only worry is if we did have him there, he would have been a little much. And he wouldn't leave.
He's much here. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be almost like Weekend at Bernie's. Oh gosh. Only week with Marty, you know what I mean? And the tolerance level only lasts so long as you know.
Right. No. I
two men that collided at SummerSlam 92, the model Rick Martel and Shawn Michaels.
I always thought they could have done a little bit more with Rick Martel.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they could have done a little more with him.
I could have easily seen him as an Intercontinental champ.
Yeah, I thought he was just about as good as Mr. Perfect, I'd say.
It's a shame he doesn't want to come out and do stuff. Lawson, how are you, buddy? Well, Lawson, if you want to talk about I got a woman for you that you can give a call to at Memorial Hall if you really want to talk to someone about the things they have a lot of power. That beast known as Piggott. Saturday night, November the 13th, I may need the Boston wrestling fan base to really Light up Memorial Hall, even if you're not there in person. Give her a call and say hello. The Edna Garrett of Memorial Hall. The Jack the Clown of Memorial Hall.
Jack the Clown?
The featured villain in Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen Jack, but
man, those chunks are riding kind of high on her.
Yeah, he could have pulled them down a little bit.
Showing a lot of ass meat.
Marty's stories about Hercules and transvestites were kind of interesting.
He liked the
recent episodes. I don't know if he liked it. I think he was just fooled. And then another one he threw out of a moving vehicle. He didn't like that one, I'm going to guess. But
you can. I mean, there's all types of people for all types of folks.
Oh, Chris, let me tell you, I would never, ever, 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 because especially where this is on video, strike a woman or condone man-on-woman violence. But let me tell you, I wish Piggott would become a man, or in my wildest dreams, just for 5 minutes. I hate fucking Piggott. And isn't it amazing that's a real name? You'd think once you were married, you'd want to drop it. You know what I mean? If my last name was Piggott and I had a chance to get rid of it, I'd say, it's like hitting the fucking lottery. Okay, I'm married. I no longer have to be Piggott.
You can change your name even without getting married. You can legally just change your name.
Well, that might be insulting to the rest of the Piggott family. But
how great are they?
I don't know.
Wait, is her brother an official in Melrose?
He is the mayor.
Is he Mayor Piggott?
No. Piggott is her maiden name, but she still goes by.
So what's his name?
Broder.
So she was born. Oh, so she was born Piggott, but he was born Broder.
Well, I would hope, yeah.
Well, they're not brother and sister?
No, brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
Oh, okay. I thought they're
Kathy Piggott Broder.
Okay.
But if you were her, wouldn't you have kind of wanted to have lost the Piggott? I mean, John C., what do you think, brother? If your last name was Piggott and you had a chance to drop it once you were married, would you not take it up on that opportunity? Or would you keep the Piggott? You'd what? You'd drop the Piggott? All right. Well, Piggott should be dropped, but anyway.
Hit him with a DDT, maybe? Come on. Jake hasn't hit him with a DDT yet, hasn't he?
I like what Phil said. Her middle name is Frigate. I don't know, Lazy. I got so many people I dislike right now. Those two idiots aren't even on the radar. Trying to navigate.
We should do an episode of the top 10 dislikes from Dan Marotti. Who's the top?
I'd have to give it a lot of thought.
Let me ask you this. You got one gun and one bullet. Terry Runnels or Piggott?
I wouldn't shoot someone.
You just pistol whip them.
No.
Really?
No, because, it's something I don't like. I don't condone it. It's why I hate intergender wrestling.
If you were a woman, if you turn into a woman, and you were who would you attack first, Terry Runnels or Piggott?
Runnels.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, big bump.
Because you know what? Piggott, you know what you're going to get. I was going to say, use the terminology that I would use off the air. But Terry Runnels is just such a fake, phony, however you want to fill in the blank. Nasty, dirty, filthy, whatever you want to fill in the blank with. Okay. She's just a lousy human being. Piggott, you know what I always found interesting? You weren't around for the days of Commissioner Von Johnson, but he said, yeah. He used to, he kind of grunted. He said, yeah. Nah, she's just a street broad from Charlestown that wants to be Melrose, baby. Yeah.
Nothing against Charlestown.
Nothing. No, I like Charlestown.
My sister's ex-boyfriend.
Was the origins of Piggott.
My sister's ex-boyfriend his family had a Thai restaurant in Charlestown.
Well, maybe Piggott had been to the.
They were, and I liked him because he gave me food. So.
Andy, yeah, you're right, Phil. Andy Kaufman maybe could have taken care of Piggott. Oh, let me tell you. When you guys see this little mini documentary we're making, if it interests you at all, you're going to really say, you're crazy for even bothering to do this. But I love you.
I mean, I'll be
honest,
love
this business.
This problem with Miss Piggott has been such an issue for you. You were even discussing, I hope I'm not speaking out of school, about moving the April 16th show at one point.
Well, it is speaking out of turn a little bit. But,
Okay.
I love, the problem is I love Memorial Hall. I love how close it is to where we are. I just hate fucking Piggott. I hate fucking John C. is one of the nicest people I have ever met, and he hates Piggott. Am I speaking out of turn, John C.? No, thank you. Even he hates Piggott. I mean, everyone that's ever met the fucking woman hates Piggott. The little Dutch boy from Holland hates Piggott.
Oh my God,
the little Dutch boy from Holland went to some Catholic school with her son. He was in Melrose?
Yeah.
Wes?
The rug store.
He went into the rug store?
Yeah.
What the fuck was he doing in the rug store?
Mom dropped off the rug.
The mother that looks like one of the Who's from Whoville?
I've never met him.
Oh, you didn't see her with the...
No, it was him.
Oh, he came in alone?
Yeah.
Did he say, hi? Hi, John C. Oh, that little fuck. So he was better. You know what? Let's see.
Who is the Dutch boy from Holland, John C.?
I think that pretty much says it all. He's the little Dutch boy from Holland. You know what? You mother. Because the little Dutch boy from Holland has got a quote-unquote delivery that he needs to make. That little mother, I'm going to call him. Where is he? What the hell do I have him in my phone as? See, sometimes I have the nicknames. Sometimes I have the real names. All right, we're going to give him a little call. Hercules sets up Jake Roberts into the ropes.
No one has
Big knee. Look, Hercules sold the knee well. He works cleaning mountains in Vermont.
He cleans mountains.
Cleans the trails. So I can't believe he was in this city.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated
Come
voice
on, Dutch
messaging
boy.
system.
Wesley.
Is not available.
Wesley.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Dutch boy, you little fuck. You little tiny fuck. I hear through the grapevine that you were here in Melrose as we're preparing for our 20th anniversary back to the 90s bash at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Saturday night, November the 13th. You kayfabed in that because you claim you're cleaning hot dog wrappers off of trails in Vermont, living in these 3 walled huts 5 nights a week for $12 an hour, and you don't come and see me. We're live right now on a watch along, and I'm hot that I'm getting this information. You're on my list right now. I'm so pissed. You're lucky I like you so much. I don't give a fuck whether you're from Holland or not, or whether you're one of the Who's or not, or whether you were going to pick up rugs or not. And I'm not talking about John Cena Seniors. You better hit me up, kid. I'm hot right now. As Paul Roma jumps off the top rope, misses the big right. All right, Dutch boy, we'll talk soon. Enjoy the wilderness.
I hope he's at the show.
Huh?
I don't even know what he looks like, but I hope he comes to the show.
No, he said he can't. He's going to be in Vermont.
Maybe he's going to Vermont the day before.
But John C. with the bombshell of the night.
Was John C. a stooge right there?
No, he was just sharing information as he knew it to be. I don't think he knew that there were issues with the little Dutch boy from Holland. XPW. Well, we constantly get information here in Boston Wrestling. Let me tell you, Roma with the mullet. I'm not happy with it. I don't know. The Dutch boy should there should be some penance for the Dutch boy.
You like the Dutch boy?
I do. I like the Dutch boy very, very, very much. He's a good human being. He was involved in homeschooling, which was almost like a cult. And I don't think that helped. He's a little socially awkward, I guess maybe is the way to put it.
How old is the Dutch boy?
Dutch boy's probably, he was with that group. He knew Captain Chris well.
Who is Captain Chris? I have to get back.
He was the one that came in a little while ago to get the posters.
Yeah, I'd like to meet him.
He's older. He's going to be, I would guess, 22.
Oh, he's very young.
He makes a fine face paint. I don't know what that means.
Man, they're really.
Lawson said if I was gay, I'd date Dan. No, you wouldn't want to do that, Lawson. I'm too much.
That's true.
Fox Guy, welcome. How are you?
He's
Matthew Holland. How are you? The
this-
meat puppet Dutch monkey boy.
This match is going on quite a bit. They really didn't.
This was, the funny thing is, this was a long show. Not only did they do, I think, 5 traditional Survivor Series matches, you had the egg nonsense, and you had the Ultimate Survivors match at the end. Poor Jake the Snake is a man without a country right now. Shawn Michaels is eliminated.
I thought they let Shawn eliminate one person at least.
Well, they just wanted to beef up some heels for Hogan and Warrior in the end. And look at Jake. He doesn't know what to do.
Was Survivor Series, what was your favorite out of the big 4 pay-per-views as a kid?
Or WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
The fans in Hartford rallying behind Jake, the home of WrestleMania 11.
Hartford, Connecticut. Good town. Shout out to Hartford, Connecticut. I never really
maybe we'll get on to Hartford for SmackDown on November 19th.
Oh, Jesus.
No, you don't want to go that bad.
I can't watch any of the WWE shows. I can't watch any of it.
Well, going in person to me is a little different.
Yeah.
Although you know me, I love the house shows.
As they call them now, live events, which is the dumbest title I fucking hate.
Well, I don't think they were ever called house shows to the public.
Well, I call them house shows in my heart because that's what they are. Live events are such a stupid show. Every show is live. There, you know what I mean? Even if it's taped, it's still live. It's happening right there. It's such a stupid show.
No, Phil, have you ever seen our interview with Harley Race when he was here in the studio? Phil had met Harley Race. Dan, will Slick be singing Jive Soul Bro on the 13th? Rick, there's only one way to find out, baby. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com. Get your VIP packages or tickets now. The Doctor of Style is coming to Boston. More precisely, Memorial Hall in Melrose. Maybe Slick will try and do a little jiving with Piggott. John C., I think still think he's talking to himself, but Rick, I don't know if Annie is going to be with us. I know she goes to church. Well, no, she used to go to church with John Cena Sr., and now she hasn't been back since the virus, I guess.
No, you find ass in one night and you find Jesus in the other. Is that kind of how it goes?
I hope she never tried to go after a priest or anything.
Well, hey, I mean, listen. If I could tell you stories about priests, but besides that, we've got Jake going after Rick Martel.
I got a confession to make, baby.
Look at this. Rome was checking in on
there
Warlord.
again.
Mike Chioda, the ref. Mulleted Mike Chioda.
I had always remembered Martel as surviving. My memory is not what it used to be, I guess. Oh, no, Martel did survive, but wouldn't he have been counted out too, like Undertaker was?
Should have been. He left the ringside area.
The rules were very lax here at Survivor Series, I guess, depending upon the referee.
Look at Roma holding on to Hercules like he's his prom date.
I hope we can have the Warlord back in the studio sometime soon. I really like him. He's a good guy.
I said Hercules Warlord, excuse me.
What's that?
I said hold on to Hercules like he's prom date, but like it's his prom date, but it was actually Warlord.
Well, he got a lot of heat over a story he told about Hercules.
Warlord did?
Yeah.
What was the actual story?
They were doing some international tour with Ultimate Warrior as the headliner, and they were flying over to, I don't know if it was Israel or something like that. And Hercules had a reaction to whatever medicine he was taking.
A little out of it.
And in the middle of the flight, he started working with an elderly woman that was sitting next to him, and who had no idea who he was or why he was trying to put her in a headlock and throw her punches at her. And then the pilot came out, and he started working with the pilot.
Working punches?
So the worry was he was going to be arrested once he landed, but I don't know what happened.
What year was that?
He
like
wound
93?
up being escorted out of the airport very, very quickly. I'd say 95, 90, probably 95-ish.
Okay.
Look at Jim Duggan's 2x4 is very decorated here.
Speaking of Hercules, he had one of the best looks of all time when he was wrestling in Mid-South and then early on WWF with, I think, he
had brown gear when he was with Freddie Blayze.
But he had the longer hair, with the bigger beard, and then he looked great right after that, but it was a different look. And then he looked awful with the big mustache and the big, huge gut. He had
the gas gut. Yeah.
Yeah, the gas, the roid belly.
Let's go back to the how strong was Hercules? Pretty strong.
Yeah, Hercules was no joke. Nice guy from the accounts.
Yanni must own several bidets.
Do you think there wasn't anyone Annie serviced?
The guy on the show looks like Mr. Benzio, my teacher from... Who, Matthew? Me or Charles?
Who's Mr. Benzio? Sounds like a
his teacher. Hercules accidentally chose Almond Joy over Mounds. I don't know if those were the two options he had, Phil, but I would have loved to have been there to witness him watching him trying to work the elderly woman. And I guess Hercules' family was very upset at this story, saying Hercules never indulged in medicine, which I didn't know Hercules. I can't say for sure, but could Annie show TL Hopper a thing or two? Well, Matthew, I'm glad Charles reminds you of your teacher.
I taught for a small amount of time. I have a history certification.
You what?
I actually have taught for a small amount of time.
You were a teacher?
For a small amount of time, yes.
With Harvey?
No.
No. Now, what did you teach?
I actually have a history certification, 6 through 12.
Really?
I'm a big history buff.
So why is it that you do what you do for work outside of your work here in Boston Wrestling?
I found, for teaching it's a tough profession. There's a lot of masters you have to serve, and I didn't have the personality for it at the end of the day.
You do or you do not?
I did not have the personality for it. I just felt like I was not.
How many years ago are we talking?
Just a couple years back.
Recently you taught.
Before pandemic. But now with the pandemic, I was, I thought we'll give it another try, but with the pandemic, I didn't want to wait a little.
So how did you get involved with your profession you're in now?
My friend was doing it, and he said, you should try it. I said, okay, I'll try it. That was really about it, to be honest.
Do you like it more than teaching?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways I do.
All right. Don't get too excited or anything.
I won't, but I don't know. That's a good question. Speaking of being excited, we have your favorite, Dino Bravo.
Oh.
Was he the most useless person at this time?
I just never understood why they pushed him. He didn't really have that great of a look.
Did they ever really
His matches were absolutely terrible.
I love this run he does around the ring, though. I love it.
Yeah, he was really over with that.
But he never really got pushed. He was a lower mid-card guy all the time.
Are you shitting me? He was feuded with Warrior.
For how long? 2 weeks?
No, he had a big run with Warrior.
In what year?
He feuded with Hogan. Look at where he is now.
In what year was that, though?
89 and 90 through early 91.
He feuded
He
with,
had almost 2 years where he went nonstop with Warrior and Hogan.
yeah, but like on what, house shows?
No.
They didn't have what?
Well,
not
all right.
big singles
To be
on-
fair, it's not like he had pay-per-view main events, but I mean, he was working every night pretty close to the top. I don't know why. Matches were terrible.
Yeah. He was not very good at that time.
No, it wouldn't have been my choice. I know he drew great in Montreal, but that was Montreal. He was another one of the worst characters of the early 90s, Tugboat. Much better recast as Typhoon, in my opinion.
A cooler name. He had a cooler gear too. And then of course he was the infamous Shockmaster.
I loved it when he turned heel. That was a good angle. His original name, they called him Tugboat Thomas. I'm glad they changed that. Here is a man that was supposed to be with us this Saturday night, and we are certainly sending positive thoughts his way. I hope you guys are too. The American hero, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Speaking of, we hope Hacksaw gets better. Speaking of Tugboat Thomas.
Don't sound too sincere.
Well, I just want to say, speaking of Tugboat Thomas, I decided we're going to change Captain Lou's gimmick up a little bit.
What are you going to call him? Captain Thomas?
Luscious Lou.
Luscious Lou.
Luscious Lou.
Well, but the fans at home that thought he was Pocahontas at one point, I don't know.
I sincerely hope Hacksaw gets better. Prostate cancer is no joke. It's prostate cancer, correct? Or
yes.
Prostate cancer is no joke. It's a very serious thing, and it could be fatal. And we hope the best.
Well, most cancer can be, yeah.
But we hope the best for Hacksaw Duggan, and we hope that maybe he can join us at a future time when he's healthy and happy, and he's able to come.
He has an open invite. Whenever he's ready to come back, I've spoken with Mrs. Duggan several times, and so again, we send out positive thoughts to Hacksaw. He's beat cancer before, he'll beat it again. There he is, the immortal Hulk Hogan.
Biggest star in the history of the business, in my book.
Well,
what wrestler is more known than Hulk Hogan around the world?
that one I'll give you. But as far as who sold the most tickets, the most pay-per-views, the most merchandise, it's the man with the middle finger, Stone Cold.
But you got to adjust for inflation. If you're adjusting for inflation, what
I'm talking quantity as well.
Quantity of tickets?
Well, we can't adjust the quantity of tickets,
No,
but I mean the number of T-shirts.
How many shows were they running in 98, 99? Were they running 3 shows a night?
No.
They were doing that back in 85, 86, 87.
Yeah.
So I would just say that, and who was on top then?
It's not like, the one thing that, and I love, I love this era, but I mean, it's not like they sold out every arena every night. Hogan and Andre in Greensboro did 2,000 people. So, I mean.
Okay. But that was, they did 2,000?
2,000 people. For Hogan and Andre, 88?
That's bad.
Yeah.
But they didn't go to the South that much at that point.
Well, so it just shows. But I mean, no, you're not wrong. They didn't have B-team shows when Austin was on top. That's very fair. But
if you look at, didn't Rocky actually draw more than Austin in terms of overall numbers?
Rock?
Well, as far as television ratings, pay-per-view ratings, you could make the argument Austin started that, but didn't Rock draw a little bit more?
No.
I could have sworn I saw that where Rock drew
1, 2, 3 is Austin, Rock, Hogan. And nothing has changed since I've gone in 2001.
So is it,
nothing changed, believe me.
Back
Cena had a great run, but he didn't do numbers that those guys did.
But Hogan over his career has done more numbers over Austin. Peak for peak, you could say Austin, but overall Hogan with the longevity.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
3 hot years. He had 3 to 4 hot years. I actually think, to be honest with you, as of today, star-wise, Rock's the biggest star out of the 3 of them right now because of the movies and all that.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this. It would be interesting if you went up to the average Joe on the street. If you said, who is Hulk Hogan and who is Dwayne Johnson, who they'd know better.
I would. Okay, I'll give you this. most recognizable wrestler around the world, I'd say, is Hogan. Most popular wrestler right now, I would say, is The Rock, even though he's not a wrestler anymore. And as far as who wrestling fans would say is the most popular wrestler, or who actually was the hottest peak for peak, would probably be Austin. But I think Hogan, he's right there. I mean, Hogan probably made more money than Austin.
Not even fucking close.
Personally, in his personal bank account, Hogan probably made $1 million a month.
In WWF?
He was probably bringing in close to.
Do you know what his biggest year was in WWF? I want you to guess.
Out of all the house show dates that he worked, out of all the house show draws,
guess what his biggest year was in WWF?
I'm gonna go with WWF during what time? Just ever?
Ever.
He probably was making legitimately around 10 to 12 million a year.
5.
How do you know that?
I was there.
In the 80s?
No, but I know the finances.
So you saw Hogan's finances?
I didn't see his finances. No, I was told by the people that ran the live events, put everything together and such.
5 million was his biggest.
5 million was his biggest WWF year.
So you, even with all the house shows and all the payoffs, they worked back at that time.
Yeah. You want to know Austin's biggest year? Now, again, you're talking inflation. I'll give you that.
What's Austin's?
You're talking a difference
8 million?
of, hold on, I'm just trying to think, a difference of probably 12, 13 years.
Okay. So we got to do inflation a little bit. What's Austin's biggest year? 9?
17.
17. All right. Fair enough. But who made more at the end of their career? Granted, Austin had a shorter career than Hogan.
Austin.
Oh, at the end of his career, he had more money, you think?
From pro wrestling, period?
Yeah.
Austin.
Okay. So Hogan.
And I'll say this. Hogan's deal with WCW was incredible when they were actually had value. He had a cut of, how did the deal go? There was something with the pay-per-view, anything they did above the previous version of the previous year, so to speak, he got like 25%.
Mm-hmm.
He had a merchandise deal of 50, I think, which is unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a deal that was unbelievable. And you're talking 97, 98 into even early 99, huge, much more money than he ever made in WCW. But I was told by someone in the know, wrestling-wise, he probably made a little over 30.
At the end of his career?
From pro wrestling, not including movies, commercials, endorsements, and so on and so forth.
All right, so
straight pro wrestling, a little over 30.
So I'll ask you this: you say you said Hogan, Austin, Rock, the top 3 draws.
Yeah.
Who would you put right after those if you were going to round a top 5?
Some combination, and I know who it is, but I don't know what the order would be. Savage, San Martino, and Cena.
Really? San Martino was that high? Huh.
You got to think about how long he was there.
Well, that's true. Are you just talking about WWE guys or just in general?
No, WWE, that company.
Okay.
For the McMahons.
Okay. All right. Well,
4, 5, and 6 is some
really,
combination of Bruno, Cena, and Savage.
If you really want to go back far, I heard John Tolis made a shitload of money. But that's
not WWF.
Well, that's a completely different conversation. WWF, yes, San Martino would make sense. How about Backlund? Backlund was champ for 6 years. He had to be in the top 10.
Only thing is, he really didn't do a heck of a lot before, and he really didn't do a heck of a lot after.
I don't know if Backlund could ever be called a huge draw in that level because they always stack. Didn't they always stack the cards though with guys?
I mean, they had strong B teams too, but yeah, I mean, if you look, oh Jesus, if you look back at the lineups of those days, you know, it's not like it was almost like you were talking about with Austin, just an A team.
Right.
They had a strong B team too, but MSG shows were usually really loaded. Philly was usually really loaded. The Garden was really loaded, but they were going 7 nights a week. You know what I mean?
Right.
What I wouldn't call Backlund a top 10.
Well, what do you think he was?
To be honest, as far officially standing outside of my own personal thought, I don't know where he would stand.
Okay. Well,
I should say I don't know where he stands.
I mean, and then you've got people like Cena, Batista, Shawn,
Batista
Brett.
wouldn't even be in that.
Well,
None of those three.
Well, they made him the guy for a bit. I'm thinking
Who?
of the guys.
Because
They pushed him as the guy.
Top guys.
Yeah, top guys. Shawn, obviously, and
Rick,
Brett.
I'd love to see Sid and Melrose at some point. Yes, Tom, this is the one that has that Ultimate Survivor match at the end. Tom, right now we're in the middle of the Hulk Hogan versus Earthquake team match. Wait a minute. Phil, what happened with Boogeyman? Oh, wait a minute. Phil, don't tell me I'm thinking what I'm thinking. Where did you hear this, Phil? Guys, I need some intel.
What's going on? I'm not on the live chat, so I'm
Phil, you were the first one that mentioned. Oh, someone in this chat room? No one outside of here? Let me see. Well, if it hasn't, thank you, Phil. All right. I feel better now then. No, they said that the boogeyman was alluded to, the boogeyman had died.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it true?
But no, it's just someone in the chat said it. Joe Smith, I don't know if he's still in here, but Joe, if you're in here, is this just something you're coming up with, please? TMZ. Oh, it says TMZ broke the news. Let me see. TMZ. That's easy enough. It'd probably be into sports, I would guess.
Wikipedia still has him alive. He's currently signed to WWE under a Legends contract as an aerobic instructor.
Well, he does. Well, I don't know if I would call it aerobics, but
he's 57 years old. He just turned 57 on Halloween.
His birthday's on Halloween?
Yeah, he's 57.
Really? Yeah, and I bought plane tickets for him. I didn't remember that. There's nothing. You know, if I'm wasting my time for nonsense while we're trying to watch this tremendous tag team war, I'm sure it would be trending on Twitter if it was true, but for the sake of argument, Joe, why would you write that? Well, I'm looking on I'm trying to find TMZ's Twitter right now to see if there's anything on here about it. It's 9 minutes ago to it. No, these are posts from a couple of hours ago. Joe, you know what? I don't know why you would post that in here, but I'm awfully pissed off about it. For a couple of reasons.
You just made it up?
I guess, yeah. There's nothing on TMZ about it.
Maybe he just heard?
Well, you don't go and post in a forum, hey, I mean, I don't know if Joe is familiar with our background with Boogie, but man, that you guys made me feel ugh for a minute.
Can you talk about, but people don't know some of the background that you have with Boogeyman?
Well, he competed here in Boston Wrestling on several occasions. He did I think the only quote unquote shoot interview he ever did was right here in this studio with myself and John Cena Sr. Joe, are you still in the room? I don't believe this, but I'm still. You know what? Sake of argument. I sure hope it's not true. Well, I just texted him, so.
Texted the Boogeyman?
Yeah.
Does he get reception in the bottomless pit?
Well, he is in the mountains. Sometimes it does take a while for him to get back. Tom Hood, I miss Vince McMahon's big pay-per-view introductions. When he imagine how many lines he must have done before he did those promos late at night.
Now, Dan, I got to ask, did they ever give a singles push to Barbarian?
I was just thinking that. It's almost like you read my mind, Mr. Charles. No, they never did. And I thought when they broke Powers of Pain up after WrestleMania 5, I thought they would have at least attempted to. I mean, they would have seemed like perfect foils for Hogan and Warrior, even if the matches wouldn't have been that good. But
I mean, they're working together. Barbarian and Hogan have some decent chemistry. They're not going to make match of the year candidates here, but Barbarian looked like he could hang with Hogan.
Barbarian was better than Warlord. Warlord was pretty much just look. But yeah, they broke up in, I think, 90. Obviously, look at what we're watching. Survivor Series 90.
Oh. How many bumps did Heenan take a night? Some nights he took nothing. It didn't take much, but a couple.
With a broken neck, he never got fixed.
Oh, hold on. Hey, come on, Bobby. You're better than that hole in your arm.
Jesus, look at Bobby
You're
Heenan.
better than that, Bobby. You fucking...
Warrior threw him over the guardrail. Hogan tossed him around. Has Hogan rolled up the end? Yes, the match has ended, Tom. If you were, if you're watching on the network right now, right at the end where Hogan's wiping the sweat off his head,
do you think
with
Hogan
the fans
would have been over if he had shaved his head completely bald and his mustache?
Well, remember Kevin Sullivan shaved his mustache on Nitro.
It happened. But here, if he had shaved his head bald in 89 or 90, you think it would have worked? 88?
No. He didn't need to. I mean, he's the only guy. His appeal really, the biggest thing he ever screwed himself with was lying on Arsenio Hall. People started to turn on him at that point. They brought in Flair, and that helped to some degree.
How did people know he was lying?
Look at him.
No, I mean, it was his word against anyone else's. He could have been honest and said, "I never took steroids." Hogan didn't look that unbelievable. He looked great, but he didn't look like he didn't.
Did you see him in '93 and '94?
Well, I did.
When he looked anorexic.
Well, 93, but Hogan didn't look like. I mean, he didn't look like Warrior. He had some fat around his midsection.
Well, it was a different, he was.
And you're right.
There's different ways, different kinds, different ways to train with it. But
looked like a lean walrus in 93. And then he got back on the gas in, I think, 94, 90, like 90. By 96, he was huge again.
By the NWO time, he was big.
Yeah. Everyone got big.
And then when he came back to WWF, and oh my God, was he big.
Because they weren't drug testing.
Yeah.
I think WWF drug tested from 92 to 97. 96, thank you. And then everyone else just seemed to get bigger and bigger and bigger at that point.
Well, it's interesting. The Royal Rumble is going to be on a Saturday night again this year. Oh, well, I shouldn't say this year, in 2022.
One day you should have a show. It should just be from 92 to 96 people. It should be called the Steroidless Show. Backlund never did steroids, I don't think. I'm trying to go on.
That I ever heard of. Zach C., thank you, brother. Hogan strikes me as a guy who enjoys Taco Tuesdays. That I do not know.
LeBron James enjoys Taco Tuesdays.
Hogan said he get down to 230. I almost don't believe it. Yeah, you know what? I agree with you, Phil. Even when that 93, 94 period when he was
I could see that
clean to some degree, he was.
I could see that, honestly.
230? He was a big guy back then. He shrunk a little bit.
6'4", 6'5" at that time.
Right now,
right
now we have a picture together. He's about my size now.
He's really shrunk. Candy Striper Macho Man coming out.
Looks like the Candyman Jerry Seavey. Very surprising not to see Macho Man on this show.
Some of the best wrestling gear. When he switched over to the lawn tights and the shirt, I know it was to hide some of the muscle mass he lost, but it looked great. It worked for him.
Yeah.
It worked for him as opposed to just the trunks.
Would love to see more of the fans like Zach C., not to be confused with John C., follow his efforts for the Super Chat Sunday Night Live that we're bringing you, especially just 6 days before the big event. Every dollar helps. We're going to Tampa in less than a month for Wrestle House 2. We're lining up more great superstars for you, but you know what? It ain't cheap. It's a cost the moolah, baby, and I'm not talking about the fabulous moolah. The one thing I would hate to do is have to cut back on the amount of shows we do or how we do them. It would be a lousy thing. I think you would even agree with that, Mr. Wilson.
I would agree. Why? You think I wouldn't agree?
I don't know. I didn't even know you were a teacher.
Well, you don't know a lot of things about.
What?
You don't know a lot of things about.
Well, that's not what Harvey said.
I just hope that you have a good show on 13.
I don't, with the lineup we have, unless something catastrophic happens like 9/11 that kind of took the fun out of our first live event, I can't see it not being great. Is it okay
to let them know about the VIP section and who might be there?
Who may be in the VIP section?
Well, maybe who might be running the Fan Fest. Who's running the Fan Fest on that?
Well, that's one of your main duties as one of the MWF officials.
I just didn't know.
Hopefully, you won't be in sweatpants, but
well, I will wear my nice sweatpants.
Your nice sweatpants, all right.
Well, I just want to let everyone know if you're coming to the Memorial Hall in 1113, I will be running the Fan Fest.
Amongst other things.
So if you see me in my nice sweatpants, as Dan likes to put me in, then please say hello. And if you're going to be there at the Fan Fest,
easy access.
Yes. And if you're going to be there at the Fan Fest, I will love to take your questions for the legends involved.
Yes, Larson. Don Morocco did towards the end. Phil, you're right. Yeah, it may rain a little bit, but my God, we've run that weekend before. I think it was 2004 in Billerica, and we had snow. Just a couple of inches, but it was.
Oh, it's going to rain off and on during the day, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we can survive that. Math, what is it with you guys with these deaths? Enough.
What's wrong with the deaths?
No. This one's saying Iron Sheik rest in peace.
Oh. Ooh.
You know what, to you, and I'm not trying to be cold, but to you guys, they're wrestlers. To me, these are friends. These are people I've spent, I'm not. Matthew, I don't understand why you'd say that.
Just a bad joke. Just a bad joke.
Dan Marotti, rest in peace. Believe me, I feel like I have. If you knew how little sleep I've gotten, how much I've been at this studio, I know Marty would be all over me right now for saying that. Brother, the fans don't care. They work too. Well, most don't do 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, but nonetheless.
Marty had a job.
What's that?
When's the last time Marty had a job that he worked?
Oh, he's still involved in the professional wrestling industry.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think Jim, as good as Jim Powers was, Tom, I don't think
I love Jim Powers.
he ever had superstar written all over him, I guess. His promos that were almost non-existent. His wrestling was solid, but there was just nothing about him. It was Tito and his red T-shirt.
They should have put him and Tito together as a team.
Oh.
Powers and Tito. I like Jim
Strike
Powers.
Stallions.
Strike Stallions. There you go. Stallion Force.
What a team here. Jobber City, Nikolai Volkov, Tito Santana, and a man we're going to be seeing this Saturday night at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Bushwhacker Luke. Whoa, matey. He stepped up to the plate when his friend Hacksaw Jim Duggan unfortunately had to go in for prostate cancer surgery. Bushwhacker Luke will be live when we go back to the 90s at Memorial Hall Saturday night. Don't forget, fans, I'm not talking about Den Fan. Tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. They've been flying. I tell you, what day was it? Friday. You wouldn't believe the amount of sales we had. It was tremendous. It wouldn't stop. This is Marty's good friend, Pat Tanaka.
Who's the guy in the background behind Cheek Out Arcade?
That's Boris Zukov.
Boris Zukov. Oh, gosh.
You know what, Lazy Bum? Let's see what we can do. A little Dutch boy. I'm still pissed at him.
I just have this image of you yelling at a little boy wearing clogs and has blonde hair.
I'll say this, I've had so much fun ribbing him over the years. Tremendously. Let's have some fun. Unless you're interested in Sergeant Slaughter and the flag. Well, we haven't got that far yet, Tom. We're still at the point where Sarge is being interviewed by Mean Gene. We're not talking about Sarge Russo. We're talking about Sergeant Slaughter.
MJ House.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at
My
this time.
fucking
Goodbye.
piece of shit, Jannetty.
Well, I thought we might have had a little fun with Marty, but he's doing Marty things, I guess.
What the fuck are these promos about with Slaughter? God, these promos were awful, Dan.
You don't like Sarge's promos.
Just droning.
What about Sarge Russo?
Sergeant Russo?
Yeah.
Who's Sergeant Russo?
Well, she was a good worker, especially with the record player, but that's a different story for a different time. Yeah, Sarge is still doing his pre-match promo, Tom. Username, you might be right. Phil, you might be right. Maybe Marty's passed out. Maybe Marty can't find the phone.
His cat took the phone.
Where's my phone?
Oh, man, where's the phone?
Oh, do I get tired of hearing that? Sorry, Marty.
Have you ever wanted to fight Jannetty? Like, just slap
Me?
the piss out of him? Yeah.
That night that we, on the live thing, I don't remember what pay-per-view it was, but I had to block it online. I've never been that mad when we did a taping. I was so pissed, and he insulted me like that.
Even Mean Gene can't believe all this shit.
Webcam, the answer to that one is no. I don't think that happened. I was there. Lazy Bum Marty has been kind of quiet on social media, but he does get suspended a lot. Maybe he said something inappropriate. I don't know. We speak, if not every day, several times a week. So he's okay. He was pumped up about the Braves winning the World Series. We texted about him as he wants to move to Tampa, but I guess the rents are out of control.
What's the rent? What are the rents?
Just, I guess the rent is kind of gone sky high.
I wonder how much they are.
I haven't looked. I'm only ready for Wrestle House the first week in December, guys. Get ready for some live episodes, cyber autograph signings. But Friday night, we're going to be having some guests here in the studio, LIVE live. I don't know if we're going to be able to have time to have anyone live Saturday, but next Sunday, we're going to have Duke the Dumpster Droese with us live. If you're a fan of 94 to 96 WWF New Generation Wrestling.
What time will he be in the studio? Well, after we talk about that later.
Yes, please.
I'll come by and say hello to the dude.
What's that?
Maybe I'll come by and say hello to the dude.
Oh, it's a must.
Yeah.
We'll be having other guests as well, but
well, on Friday we might have some people in the studio.
We definitely will. Rick, yes, I plan on having more with Just Incredible very soon. Bring Lou. He has wrestling knowledge. Yeah, Lou has a lot of wrestling knowledge, all right. He'd be better off on that conversation with John C. in the other room.
Luscious Lou. I love Luscious Lou.
Stick a fork in Boris Zukov. He's done.
Was Boris Zukov out of the company in 91?
Yeah.
No.
He was one of the ones they gave notice to right around this time.
Okay. Who is this one again?
This is Akio Sato. Funny enough, WWE gave me the mission to find Akio Sato last year.
For what reason?
I don't know, to be honest. They needed him and they couldn't find him. So in one of the secret, covert, undercover missions, look at that beautiful kick from Pat Tanaka, Miss Tito Santana.
I guess Pat Tanaka decided to wrestle without boots. You decided to go barefoot after this?
Did he?
Yeah, because they were.
I tell you, I always liked the Orient Express, both versions of them, but Sato was aging, and him and J.J. Dillon put together a great deal in Japan, and it helped save some of the guys that got fired. Well, we missed whatever the hell happened right there, but I'm sure it was devastating from Pat Tanaka. Missed the headbutt. Chico Santana. And Tito's on fire tonight at Survivor Series. These might have been the last wins of his career.
Arriba, my boy's getting the push that he deserves.
I don't understand why Volkov was on the other post.
Gosh, look at Slaughter being useless. Tito.
Almighty one, you are correct. It was Bill Eadie's last pay-per-view.
Tito, again, one of the best workers that company had this time.
Arriba. And nobody cared.
Well, nobody did. Sometimes people don't care about the best workers.
This, I tell you, these house show matches were so bad.
Who, Slaughter and Volkov?
Oh!
Who would put them together?
WWF.
Who was?
They were so. Look, those kicks both missed. So bad. So boring.
I could see someone wanting to watch this in 1983. Like, if you put this on in 83, that's that's not bad. But in 90, these guys were just done. They were knackered.
I think Nikolai's the only man, Sarge was the only one left on his team.
Did Chief talk about Nikolai's cheapness? I heard Nikolai.
Yes, several times.
Now, do you think most wrestlers are in the cheap and frugal category, or they spend like sailors?
In this era, a lot of a lot of hustlers. You know what I mean? A lot of cheap, definitely a lot of cheapness.
What about the young wrestlers of today? What do you think of those guys?
I think generally a little smarter with the money.
Cheap or frugal?
I don't think, when you say young wrestlers, are you talking about WWE? Are you talking about indies?
Both. Either just young wrestlers. The wrestlers under the age of 30.
Well, the indie guys aren't making anything to begin with. They're basically getting money to get back and forth home and hopefully sent to eat for dinner, unless they're tenured or have a little buzz about them. But, I mean, I look at our experience at my favorite restaurant, and I don't know. That's kind of a hard question to answer. It's a different generation. I think the generation overall is smarter than these guys were. I don't think it's not like the atmosphere wasn't what it was. Oh, Jesus.
Dropkick. He did a dropkick.
I mean, the drug scene certainly isn't what it was 20, 30 years ago.
Guys now just might smoke a little pot. If anything.
The rat situation, we've talked about that before. That's pretty much non-existent.
Please,
although I would imagine, I would have to think down in Florida for NXT, there'd have to be some rats.
Well,
where they run the same area so regularly.
Melrose
What's that?
Has rats.
What's that?
Melrose has rats.
Melrose actually does. It has a rat infestation right now.
But
not ring rats, but rats.
The younger wrestlers, though, they're filling up their bump cards a lot earlier than the guys did here. And
I hate that term so much.
Well, I hate the term rat.
Everybody's body is different.
Yeah, bump card.
Everybody's works a different style.
Everyone's got a different bump card, and some of these guys are filling their bump
card. What a stupid term.
A stupid term. You call people rats. You call them rodents.
Well, if they were a ring rat, they were a ring rat.
Still, that's still a stupid term. Just because it's been around for 50 years or 100 years doesn't mean it's a smart term.
Would you prefer groupie?
I prefer groupie or a big fan, a female fan that likes to service the boys. No. Do the women have?
Yes, Rick. Akeem was gone at this point too. He was supposed to be in this match on Slaughter's team and was replaced by Boris Zukov. Did Beefcake marry a rat? I don't know if his wife was a rat. I know Marty had some stories about her, but
all right, let's just use this. We'll use the term rat for you because you like to be catered to. Did you ever have a rat?
No.
Okay. Did you have any?
I have. It's not my style.
Not your style. Were the rats back in the day when you broke in 93.45?
Yes, they were still around because there was still WWF still had its circuit and it wasn't completely killed yet.
I heard Europe for a long time. The rats were in Europe a little bit more, like in their 94 to 98 period. They were
only in Europe twice a year. You know,
weren't they going like 3 or 4 times a year? 94, 5, 6.
They did a lot of international tours, but not all of them were in England. Oh shit! Not all of them were in England. What did I knock over? Yeah, you're right, Almighty One. If only Dino Bravo got replaced, you would have had a better match. Dan eats a lot of fat food. How do you know what I eat, Matthew?
Well, do you eat a lot of bad food, Dan?
I eat a lot of apples and carrots every day. I know that. Yes, Almighty One. Bad News Brown, he was replaced by The Undertaker. That's interesting, Football Scout. Do women wrestlers now, where they are so, for better or worse, a bigger part of the business, do they have male rats? I don't know. Well, that would be interesting.
Didn't, what's her name? Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, they had that intruder break.
Well, I wouldn't call him a rat. A stalker or someone that was going to attempt to kidnap them. Sean, thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to try and keep up the good work. Quincy rules. If Quincy was here right now to hear that comment, he'd be going wild. But generally, we only have Quincy on Thursday. This Thursday night at, I'm going to guess 7 o'clock, we're going to have Thursday Night Live before we party with Marty. And we are going to have Starcade 91, the watch along. So we hope you'll join us, have a little bit of fun here as we prepare. My God, we'll be so less than 48 hours away from the big event this Saturday night, November the 13th, Memorial Hall, Melrose, Mass. We celebrate 20 years of Boston Wrestling MWF by going back to the 90s, baby. Bob Backlund, Alundra, Blayze, Bushwhacker, Luke, Marty, Jannetty, the Doctor of Styles, Slick, Doink the Clown, Duke the Dumpster, Droese, Aldo Montoya, along with the other special guests. It is going to be a happening. Tickets are on sale now, along with the best value in professional wrestling VIP packages at bostonwrestling.com. All the VIPs at all 3 levels include the big group photo where you get your photo taken with all 8 of those 90s legends. How cool is that going to look on your Facebook or Instagram? It was a great idea, a great concept. I'm not going to pat the person on the back who came up with the idea because he's got a bit. Yeah. No.
I'm very horrible.
No.
What day is that on, Dan?
A Saturday night, November the 13th.
What am I doing that night?
This Saturday night.
This Saturday night. This Saturday night at Memorial Hall. Please be there or be square.
Everybody's going to be there except for one person. But anyway.
Oh,
Tom, are you kidding me? Dino Bravo had some great matches with rugged Ronnie Garvin.
oh.
Ronnie Garvin's entire run was a waste. WrestleMania 6. It shouldn't have been. You think Hercules should have been done at WrestleMania 6, Almighty One, huh?
Well, and I like Ronnie Garvin a lot. I liked his work. I thought he was very good. Not in WWF, but before that.
Oh.
You weren't a fan of Ronnie Garvin?
No.
He slammed Andre.
Did he?
Andre let him.
Ronnie Garvin?
Supposedly, there's a picture of him slamming Andre.
I want to see the picture to believe
This is like late 70s in Knoxville.
I want to see a picture of it.
He said Andre let me slam him in Knoxville. Like,
I'll
try and find it. I don't know if it's a picture, but there's a picture on there. But he says he slammed Andre in the late 70s. Have you ever heard of that Plan B video he did with Roop, Orton, and Boris Malenko? Have you heard of that?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
It was called Plan B. You know what that was about?
Plan B?
Well, I want to that was what it, like the birth control. All right.
Huh?
I didn't know if you knew about this. You mentioned Ron Garvin. We mentioned Ronnie Garvin. Plan B. I don't know. Maybe Phil knows what Plan B. So the Knoxville territory was ran by the Fullers.
Right.
In the late 70s.
Okay.
Okay. Kevin Sullivan would know about this. He's talked about this.
Was this a faction?
It was basically a faction who wanted to split off and run their promotion in the same territory.
In real life?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
I'm sorry, I should have specified. They wanted to do this. So the 4 of them, the great Malenko,
Boris Malenko, Garvin, who else?
Bob Roop, who was an Olympic wrestler, Cowboy Bob Orton, Ron Garvin, and then there was another guy. I think
most of them worked for Angelo Poffo's ICW.
Yes.
Is that what it morphed into, Plan B?
No, but that was around the same time. That was another outlaw promotion. So basically what they did was they went to a TV studio like this, and they just talked about how professional wrestling was staged, and they were going to expose it to the public if they didn't get their demands for the promotion.
Who said this?
This was a video they made. It's on YouTube.
Who's in the video? Garvin and
those guys.
Orton?
Yeah, they're all talking. Boris Malenko gets out of character. He's like, "My name's Larry, and I'm here to tell you pro wrestling is a predetermined sport." This was in 1979. They were doing this. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's on
I've
YouTube.
never heard of that.
Anyone out there? I think you could look this up on YouTube. Just look up Plan B Knoxville Wrestling, 1979. They were going to do it to release it to make sure that his business tanked. Kevin Sullivan. Next time you talk to Kevin Sullivan, ask him about Plan B.
I will. None of the fans have mentioned Plan B.
I feel like
Adrian remembers him as NWA champion for that short spell.
Phil's out there. Phil's a big aficionado. He might know Plan B from Knoxville Wrestling. I don't know if Phil's still in the chat room, though.
Well, Phil, where are you, baby? Oh, he said he was going to be back, and I think he had something to do. Folks, if you knew how bad I had to use the men's room right now, you'd be amazed. The Super Chat button is open for business. Anything from $1 to 1,000, we accept. We got more text messages. What do we got? Information? Oh, fuck.
What's wrong?
Is it the Playmate of the Month? Gene, get your mind out of the gutter.
I can see why Russo gave him that dirty old man.
Oh, Adrian Carlos, I agree with you, brother. It is tough to sit through a lot of those WWE TV shows.
What? Have you liked this pay-per-view so far?
This one?
Yeah.
It was all right. Not over yet.
Hey, I think this is better than Survivor Series 93.
No, but
That was a oof. No, this was Hector Guerrero.
yeah. Why they'd have a wrestler do it? I mean, you could have had someone on the ring crew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Saves. It didn't last long.
Were they giving Hector a tryout at that point? None of the Guerrero brothers made the WWF besides Eddie.
Well, Chavo did when he managed.
Oh. But Hector, Mondo, not Chavo. Who are the other?
I guess
brothers?
they considered they had their Spanish wrestler, quote unquote, in Tito.
Well, the thing is, the Hispanic babyface works when he's the one Hispanic babyface. I think that's what I once. I think Cornette said that you can get the Hispanic babyface works when he's the pushed babyface. When he's the one guy, it works. They tried to do that with Hernandez in TNA years ago. Yeah, it's a mixed results.
Yeah, Hernandez, they were hot to trot on.
Yeah, and he looked great. He kind of was like their Batista there for a minute, and it just didn't.
Why was Jimmy Hart the manager for Dino? Well, exactly. He needed a mouthpiece. He was with luscious Johnny V, who was on his way out. So he wound up with the mouth of the South, who gave him some credibility. We had, Jimmy was with top guys, and luscious Johnny, he was pretty much the dream team, and that's it, other than that short spell that he had with Demolition. But
Wasn't as good as Luscious Lou, though.
well, we have to find out about Luscious Lou.
I'll text Lou about that name. I'm gonna say, Dan, we'll
Now,
only call you Luscious Lou from now on.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Frenchie Martin. Yeah, well, you know what? Him and Frenchie Martin clicked for the Frenchness. Not to be confused with our good friend that sits out front, the French douchebag. But
how would you have felt as a kid? I feel like as a kid, 7-year-old Marty watched the Frenchie Martin and Dino Bravo and said, "These guys are a couple French douchebags."
No, that name really didn't come into the world until
You didn't know
our
that?
friend in the front.
You didn't know about douchebags at that point?
At 7, that really wasn't a term I used all that much. But,
I love the term douchebags. It makes me laugh.
Do it. All right, well.
If you call someone a douchebag, I will laugh.
Well, I just called someone a French one.
Yeah, that's why I laugh.
Oh, all right.
It's just funny. The word douchebag is one of my favorite words.
Do you know him, John C? Where's John C? John C. Oh, maybe John C went to use the restroom. Maybe I
Oh, no, there he is.
Where? John C? Are you in there, John C? I see a chair moving. What is he doing? John! Was he asleep? Do you know FDB? Do you know FDB? You've never met him in all your times here? maybe by sight you'd recognize him, but I'll tell you, he's much better because I'll tell you, one of our big battles was over that big HD television out there.
Okay.
And I mean, I would come in some mornings and he'd have Fox News on volume. I could hear it when I was turning by the shoe store. It was on so loud, like volume 82. And I'll have to tell you how off the air, what I did. But today, now that we and I have become friends, and he doesn't know that his nickname is the French douchebag.
It's the funniest word to me.
As I was coming in and unlocking the door, he had something on, and he was nice enough to shut it off. But then he plays the French fuck music on YouTube. And it's supposed to be like meditation or seductive. I mean, I don't know if even though he's in his mid-70s, he still has a rat. And I don't know if he's warming up for her or...
Maybe that's his woman. Maybe that's his girlfriend.
Who?
Maybe that's his wife.
Yeah, no, he's not married to her, but his partner, I guess, is the best term.
You know,
his problem is his arms.
His arms? What's wrong with his arms?
Well, they're kind of long. You know, a couple of times when he walks home, his fingertips have grazed dog shit in the street. He has long arms.
Maybe he has Marfan syndrome.
Well, they're about 76 inches long. They're long arms. You know.
You know,
He's never had a problem putting on socks, I guess is the best way to put it.
Or wiping his ass.
No, that would be a problem. Imagine how far you'd have to stretch out and then try and reach.
You know, for some reason, I was reminded of a girl that I actually, she got angry at me. This woman got angry at me because I didn't call her a rat, but I didn't realize that she was I don't know why this reminded me of the story. I didn't call her a rat, but I sounded like you because she was talking about someone. And I said, yeah, doesn't she fuck so-and-so? And this is something that you would probably say, honestly. And she started to yell at me. Now, could you imagine someone yelling at me?
You're so good-natured. Yeah.
Okay.
You must have really had an off day.
I guess so. And, you know, I just thought to myself, geez, I should have called her a rat instead. Maybe that would have hit home a little bit nicer. See, look at these three studs.
Lamest tag team of all times was the Bolsheviks.
Oh, my God.
They were horrible. And they were around forever.
Let me ask you this question.
The new Dream Team was horrible, too. You're right about that, Nate.
If you had to put together your worst WWF card, what would it be? And where are the Bolsheviks and the Conquistadors on that card?
Conquistadors weren't that bad.
They weren't bad in the ring, just no one gave a shit about them.
Well, they were enhancement talents. Their job was to make the teams look
Who were they?
solid.
Was it Jose?
Jose Luis Rivera and Jose Estrada.
So there's two Jose's. I knew there was a Jose in there.
Tito's ready, baby. The Warriors got some fresh face paint. And there's no Tito's looking at the wrong camera. Would you have liked to have seen a rematch between these two at WrestleMania 7?
Yes.
I wanted it.
But would Rory have done the job for Hogan? I think he would have.
I don't think he would have had much choice, really.
Yeah. But it wouldn't have been the right thing to do.
You know, I heard, well, where did this come from? And I've got to start to incorporate it into the interviews when we talk about this, the time period in 91. Was it 91?
The year I was conceived, ladies and gentlemen, 91. The year I was conceived, 1991.
No, it would have been 90? How did it go? Oh, in this game, this is when Mike Tyson was supposed to be the guest referee on the main event on NBC between Savage and Hogan in their WrestleMania 5 rematch. They were supposed to do something where there was going to be a
Buster
swerve
Douglas?
with, huh?
Is this what Buster Douglas?
It wound up being Buster
This
Douglas.
was early 90s.
It's February of 1990. They were going to summon, and I had never heard this until very, very recently, and I can't remember who it was, but they would trying to put together a deal where Tyson was going to turn on Hogan, Savage was going to get the title, then Savage was going to lose the title to Warrior at WrestleMania, and Hogan was going to work Tyson at WrestleMania. 6.
So wait, run that by me one more time. Make sure I got it. So they were going to do a deal where Hogan was going to work with Tyson.
Yeah. And Hogan and Warrior would have never happened.
And they were going to have Tyson wrestle Hogan? That sounds awful.
I think it would have drawn. I don't think it would have been any good.
You think it would have been like Zeus?
No, I mean, Tyson was a household name.
No, but the performance.
I guess it would depend on how much training he put into it. I don't know.
Tyson was not the most hinged individual at that time. He seemed a little out of it.
No. He was
In fact,
ready to go to jail for rape. But
yeah. Which at first I didn't think he did, and then you hear some stories about how he was, even from his own mouth, and then you think, well, Jesus Christ, he could have. I'm not saying if he did or didn't, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying, you know.
I'm trying to think. It was the first time I ever heard it, and I just thought it was so strange.
What do you think about these guys coming back in their wrestling gear like DiBiase after they just wrestled a hard match?
I think it was worth trying. If that makes any sense. Did the fans want to see these guys twice?
I think there was some interest, but you know what it was?
No, the Hulks did it. He's only ripping one T-shirt tonight, brother.
But let's just run this by you for a quick minute. If Hogan and Warrior face off again and Hogan wins, what does that say about Warrior? Where do you leave Warrior? And if Hogan loses, Hogan's lost twice now to Warrior. Where do you go with from here? Obviously, you make Warrior. I think if you want to make Warrior the guy of the 90s, you have to have him beat Hulk. If he loses to Hulk, he's just kind of unless you want to make a third match and Warrior goes over. I don't know how you book it. It just seemed like they didn't know how to book it. That's the problem.
A potential rematch?
They didn't know how to book it. I don't think they knew where to go. If you want Warrior to be the guy, you have to have him beat Hulk. But if you have Hulk win, Warrior looks like a turd. His value drops just a little.
I don't think losing to Hogan would have made him look like a turd.
Well, how would you have booked?
Rematch?
Would you have turned someone heel? Ladies and gentlemen,
that could have been a way for Warrior to go over.
Write your comments. See how would you have booked Hogan Warrior 2? Would you even have the match? You know.
The only thing is, you think a Warrior is a heel. At that era, most guys had managers. Who the fuck was going to run to the ring with? Can you imagine Jimmy Hart running out with them like that? Or Bobby Heenan?
I can't see his character as a heel at that point.
Yeah.
I actually like his character in 96 that he came back with. I thought that was a good move. I liked how he kind of tried to be a little bit more realistic and talk as a normal person. He tried to change with the times a little bit.
The fans are having a lot of fun talking tag team wrestling here in the chat.
Oh, well, tag team wrestling's great. I enjoy tag team wrestling.
Warrior did a much better face paint job than he did in the opener.
Warrior had gone to a mullet at this point. He wasn't doing his regular lawn hair look. He was doing more of a mullet. A lot of wrestlers had mullets up until what? What was the last mullet? Shawn Michaels in 96?
John C.
John C.
This Hercules having that ass problem again.
Damn, Herc, you were thick as hell. Oh, hey! Is that it? Is Tito going over?
Please, I sure hope not. Oh!
Yes!
Oh!
In the bush!
Warlord doing a job to Tito after he beat him at SummerSlam 90, I think, in a singles match that sucked.
Hit the hay.
Scooping a slam from Paul Roma.
Paul Roma, what a great athlete. Paul Roma reminds
nobody cared about.
You know what? Paul Roma reminds me a little bit of my sister's boyfriend.
Well, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's just the way he looked, kind of.
Matthew Holland thinks the Ultimate Warrior is in hell.
Oh, well, that's a place to be. Hey, was it the match that from hell? Huh? You did there? Match from hell. Remember SummerSlam 91? Hogan and Warrior teaming up, the match from hell?
Oh, the match made in heaven and the match made in hell.
Yeah.
Paul Roma looks like Ken Shamrock. Maybe a little. Two solid pro wrestlers in there right now with Tito and Ted DiBiase.
Now, Ted DiBiase has a bit of a problem right now with the state of Mississippi. He owes some money.
Yes, he does quite a bit, and his son owes several million.
Is that Ted DiBiase Jr.?
Yes.
The one who had the WWE run?
Yep.
What happened? They took funds from a company, or
Brett Favre was involved in it, and
Mississippi
it
native
was
as well?
money they took from the government.
Of Mississippi.
Yes. And Ted, one of Ted's other sons, I don't know if it was Brett.
Yeah.
And he already has, well, I don't want to get into the whole story.
But it's a weird story. I guess was there a religious organization? And
yes. Yep.
It's a shame if that's true.
Well, Ted has his own, I don't know if you'd call it foundation or.
Well, he's a minister, isn't he? Or pastor?
Yeah, because when we had him, I had to fill out some kind of paperwork. Heart of David Ministries. But I like Ted. I think the Ted I know is a good person. I hope the situation works itself out for the best. If they took money in error, I hope they're able to repay it or work something out.
I just want to say though, I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but in a very kayfabe, ironic sense, does it not make sense that the $1 million man who would take money, it just in a very ironic, funny thing, the $1 million man would take people's money?
To some degree, it's kind of amusing, yeah.
Also, it's Mississippi, and that's a very poor state. I mean, those are people who need some
no
money.
kidding, right?
Your dollar will go farther there. They just, don't get many dollars.
Well, Ted DiBiase Jr. sure did.
Maybe NWF through some fundraising can go to Mississippi and run a show. Who knows if that's I don't know if that's.
I don't know if there's a commission in Mississippi. You know my thoughts on the commissions.
Yeah, I don't know. Louisiana's got one. That's right next door, but I couldn't tell you. I don't even know where you'd run a show there. There's not a lot of people that live there.
Hey, haha, Gio. Do you think WWE is hypocritical for releasing Lance Storm and keeping Mark Jindrak, who is actually involved in the concussions lawsuit? Which one of the two is involved in the concussions lawsuit? Jindrak? I don't remember that. And I don't remember Lance in it either. Geez, I think, wasn't Lance Storm around longer than Mark Jindrak?
Yes, a long time.
I think Storm was around. My God, he worked that ECW reunion show in, what was that, 2005?
Yep.
And Jindrak, who was originally going to be part of the Evolution faction with Flair, Orton, and Triple H.
Yep.
And then they just kind of lost interest in him. I think they put him with Teddy Long. I remember I flew from Tampa into Boston with him once and then went to the Hampton Beach Casino house show, and that would have been July of 2004.
Who was that, Lance Storm?
No, Jindrak.
What was he like personally?
Jindrak?
Yeah.
All right. Nothing really great to say, nothing bad to say.
Well, some people say he didn't get the Evolution spot because of his attitude or the way he handled himself. He was young, or he just didn't have the...
I just think they saw a lot more in Batista, and I think at the end of the day, there was a lot more in Batista.
Well, it was probably a good pick. I mean, I know he had a good career in Mexico, and he had a little bit of success. But Jindrak, I mean, gosh, you look back at his early career, the Natural Born Thrillers. I mean, talk about just
I'll tell you this.
A wealth of talent.
Where I was dead wrong, I thought Jindrak was going to be a monster superstar for them. And I was wrong.
Well, he was with that Garrison Cade guy, Lance Cade, for a while, and I thought he was going to be a big deal.
I never saw it in him, but Jindrak I thought was going to be one of the guys. Stick a fork in Paul Romer, and probably
just a clothesline,
the biggest moment of his career working with Hulk.
Yeah, just a clothesline. That was it.
I mean, even Martel, who really never got to work the Warriors and the Hogan. This must have been kind of a little cool for them to be on top.
Yeah. Do they like Warrior? Well, maybe with Warrior it was a little stiff, but Warrior, I heard Hogan was always...
Oh, Warriors get different tights on, too. Look at that. Lazy Bum says, I think Hercules was trying to impress Pat Patterson. Maybe. I tell you, those...
Rick Martel...
I don't know if they were too small or he
Do you think Rick Martel was trying to impress Tom Zink at all?
Well, Tom was gone for 3 years at this point, so I don't know. Rick and Hot Rod were awfully close.
Did you hear the stories of how Tom Zink felt Martel was screwing him over with the I shouldn't say that, screwing him over with the payoffs or the way their deals were? Basically, the reason why he left, according to Zink.
How would Rick Martel have any control over Tom Zink's payoffs?
Basically, the idea was that Tom Zink was taking all the bumps. Rick Martel was making more than him. Basically Rick made the deal, and Tom only got a certain amount of money, and then Rick got more. If I remember correctly, I don't want to speak to how Rick handled all the business.
Maybe they, where Martel was a main event star, where in different promotions, and Zink certainly was not. Maybe
he was AWA champion, but it actually kind of meant something.
That's what I mean. And I mean, Tom Zink really didn't have much to write about before his WWF run. My God, they weren't even together that long.
6 months, maybe?
Yeah. I have a feeling that's just
a cover-up.
Yeah.
Do you think there was a lovers' quarrel and it just ended badly?
I believe that he was embarrassed that he got caught by the guys.
Oh, I mean, Greg Valentine was pretty cool. I don't think Valentine cared. I mean, he seems like the only guy who caught
Greg hasn't reacted to anything, I don't think, since '72. But
it's a delayed reaction.
Gio. Lance Cade was underutilized, but they really wanted him to be the next Shawn Michaels, and they tried so hard. He just wasn't over, then paired with Trevor Murdoch. I don't know about you guys. I never saw superstar potential in Lance Cade.
The bland mid-card guy?
Yeah.
I thought he was very good. I know Shawn Michaels, Brian Danielson has actually said this, that when him and Lance Cade, they walked into the wrestling school Shawn Michaels had, and Shawn said out loud, he looked at Lance Cade and said, "I smell money." Because he was a tall, athletic kid who looked good. He smelled money. And hey, I mean, I thought there was some potential there. I don't think he stood out that well, but there was some potential there. Hey, Shawn Michaels thinks there's money there, but you don't. So apparently
they tried, but I think he fit that tag team role fine. With,
I think he was
what's his name?
He was
Murdoch.
like a Johnny Ace guy. Big, tall.
Yeah, when they were trying to sign every guy on the planet that was 6'4".
And they're going to do that now.
The Hulkster getting down there. Look at that. Unbelievable, wrestling fans. Oh, wait a minute. Slick. I don't know if we're going to see Slick doing that Saturday night.
You know what I really was thinking about?
What are you thinking about?
You're talking about driving some of the legends because of, we need to transport these guys. And I could imagine Luscious Lou driving Slick, Alundra Blayze, Marty, and Duke the Dumpster Droese all in one vehicle.
Wait, who?
Luscious Lou.
Oh.
Yeah. But they never teased Ascension with those guys. It was always like, hey,
Hogan and Warrior?
They were like, we're just best of friends. We don't, I don't care. He's the WWF champion. He's awesome. And then when Hogan got the belt, Warrior was like, he's my man. He's awesome. I like that. They weren't jealous of each other, but it's interesting.
Well, not that I saw a hell of a lot of it, but it almost kind of seemed like Pedro and Bruno. They had I think one match at Shea Stadium, and they were number 1 and 1A.
Great camera shot by.
Well, a couple of people might have liked that one, but
Vince.
Fans, what did you think of Survivor Series 90? Give us on a scale of 1 to 10. What did you think of Survivor Series 90?
I'm going to go 6.5.
Why? What is it with you and the halves?
I'm a bit of a half and half.
John C., what did you think of Survivor Series? What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10, C? About a 7?
What would you give it?
6.
Okay, so
6 out of 10.
I'm right in the middle.
It was okay. It was, one thing I'll say about this, it was nice to watch compared to what's on TV nowadays.
Okay. Well, are you going to be doing 91 next Sunday? Well, I know we have Droese.
I'm not 100% sure.
Well,
because we may have another guest too.
Okay. All right.
If we don't, maybe we'll figure something out.
Okay. We'll play.
We will be doing Survivor Series 91 at some point in November. That one I remember enjoying as it happened that night quite a bit from Detroit, Michigan.
What about this coming Thursday?
I believe it'll be Starrcade 91.
Okay.
So we're getting you guys. We're not going to comment on what we're seeing right now.
Well,
that would ruin it for 91. What's that?
But I remember this, though.
One of the great angles ever in WWF as far as I'm concerned. Mike S. gives it a 6. Lazy Bum gives it a 6. They agree with me. Tom Hood gave Survivor Series 90 a 7 out of 10. Adrian Carlos gave it a 5 out of 10. Yeah, isn't that something, Tom? Even though it wasn't great, it was nice to see something that wasn't anything like what's on TV nowadays. That's why I like these watch-alongs. They're fun. We get to see John C. Captain Chris came by. And we're jumping ahead a little bit on what's on our screen. But this Mr. 6.5 over here. Oh, are you guys going to join us this Thursday night live at 7 o'clock for Starrcade 1991? We had a lot of fun with Starrcade 90 last week when Dick the Bruiser almost looked like Tugboat in his referee outfit for the main event between Sting and the Black Scorpion.
Looked like he ate Yelligan and the Skipper.
Phil gave it a 6-ish.
Phil.
A 6-ish.
Okay. 6-ish.
Maybe that's what you should do instead of your halves. You should give it an ish.
I like my halves, but some people are have-nots.
All right. Well. All right, fans. We had a hell of a lot of fun tonight. The Super Chat button is open for business. More important, if you are in the Northeast, this Saturday night, you're going to have the time of your life. You are going to have memories you will remember forever. The way, especially the VIPs that get to interact with the superstars in a different way. We're going to have a lot of fun. It is an event literally in some ways, it's an event 2 years in the making. In other ways, it's an event 20 years in the making, as it's our 20th anniversary. It's amazing that we're still going after 20 years, that I still have any brain cells left after 20 years. I'll say this, I have given this event everything I could possibly give. I'm running on fumes right now, and this is going to be, we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, really only 4 days. Oh my God, only 4 days left until the superstars start coming in Thursday night. So it'll be hellacious, my favorite term that Socko used to use, but we're going to make it happen. It's going to be a great time.
Dan, it's hellacious. It's hellacious, and I'm the great Socko. I know everything. It's me.
It's an aficionado of the Los Angeles Chargers.
He likes Los Angeles Chargers.
The Milwaukee Brewers, he's a big fan of. He likes some odd teams.
I like Christian Yelich from the Brewers.
I'm sure you do.
He's a good player.
Hockey and bat.
Who's the ring rat over there that's screaming her head off?
Oh, will you stop? All right, wrestling fans, we're running out of time. John C. in the back, baby. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Can WWE bring the Hardcore Championship? 24/7 Championship doesn't count. And wouldn't they have to go back to TV 14? I could see the Hardcore title being done in TV PG. I didn't like it when they turned it into a joke is when I started to hate the Hardcore title.
Like when Jared Briscoe won it?
Yeah. If in the beginning when you had guys like Al Snow, Boss Man, Mankind, Road Dogg, having kind of these wild brawls. For the first 6, 7, 8 months or so, it was kind of interesting. After that, thumbs down, and I was so glad when they got rid of it. I hate the 24/7 title even more. Lazy Bum, there is a very good chance Quincy Rastani could be with us live Thursday night. And when Quincy's live, you never know what to expect.
Well, Unfortunately, someone needs to make sure that Quincy's cage is closed that night if they don't want any mischief.
His cage?
His cage. He's a bit of an animal now.
Well,
he's like our George Steele.
he is, and he's got a newt. But anyway.
If actually, I'm worried about, to be honest with you, Dan. During one of the matches, he pulls a George Steele like in WrestleMania 3 and pushes someone off the top of him. I love that finish. He just pushes them off the top.
A funny Quincy story. I think it was Soul Survivor 7. He was the manager of Al Snow that night when he took on Brian Fury for the MWF Television Championship.
Oh, God.
And Quincy would not get out of the ring once the match started. So they had to kind of work around a clapping Quincy. It was an interesting one.
Were they introduced as Snow Stani?
No, they're still saving that for the movie. Or if they have a tag, which is, I think, the ultimate dream of Al.
The match made in heaven, really, if there ever was such a thing.
Could Quincy do a spot?
His life is a spot.
No. From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
All right, wrestling fans, we are out of time for you. Super chatters, we thank you so much. If you want to help the cause, baby, Venmo at Boston Wrestling. We got the PayPal going. Captain Lou is trying to get the technology updated in 2021 for us. But more than anything, again, Saturday night, November the 13th, 6 nights from now. Dear God, it is going to be a happening you will never forget. For this guy, Charlie Wilson, I'm Dan Marotti. John C. is going to hit the end button, I believe, if he's not in there chatting with all of his women. We had a heck of a lot of fun. Until we speak again, we'll see you Saturday night in Melrose. Get your tickets now at bostonwrestling.com.